There are places on this planet so surreal, they defy logic itself. A glowing river of fire that dances beneath the Indonesian night. A mountain of rainbow-streaked stone painted by time itself. From the bioluminescent shores of the Maldives to the towering stone forests of Madagascar, our world is a masterpiece of the extraordinary. Are you ready to escape the familiar and experience the unbelievable, seen by only a rare few? In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a place shrouded in mist and mystery rises from the waves. The island of Pohnpei, part of the Federated States of Micronesia, cradles an ancient marvel that has baffled historians and explorers alike. Non-model. Known as the Venice of the Pacific, this otherworldly city is built on a vast network of man-made basalt islands connected by an intricate maze of canals. The structures, composed of massive volcanic stones stacked with unexplainable precision, seem to defy the very principles of engineering. Some of these stones weigh up to 50 tons, yet no one knows exactly how they were transported across the island without modern machinery. The ruins whisper of an advanced civilization long lost to time, their silent corridors and moss-covered walls standing as a testament to an enigma that refuses to be unraveled. As the tides ebb and flow, the water surrounding Non-Model carries a sense of ethereal stillness, broken only by the echoes of unseen creatures moving through the dense mangroves. The air is thick with the scent of salt and ancient decay, the remnants of a forgotten empire preserved beneath layers of foliage. Local legends speak of the city as a place of supernatural forces, a site cursed and abandoned by those who once ruled its labyrinthine streets. Some believe its origins trace back to celestial beings, while others claim its builders wielded lost knowledge beyond human comprehension. Whatever the truth, Non-Model remains one of Earth's most bewildering, unexplained wonders, an island fortress adrift in time. Across the globe, where the sky touches the earth in an eternal embrace, lies the surreal spectacle of Mount Erebus in Antarctica. This is the southernmost active volcano on the planet, its peak crowned by a constant plume of smoke rising into the frigid sky. Unlike any other volcano, Erebus harbors a rare phenomenon: lava lakes, molten reservoirs of fiery red and gold that bubble and churn in defiance of the frozen world that surrounds them. The contrast between the blistering heat of the volcano's heart and the icy desolation of Antarctica is staggering, an elemental battle frozen in time. The ice caves that snake beneath Erebus form glittering cathedrals of frost, their walls sculpted by time and the ghostly breath of the volcano itself. These tunnels are illuminated by an eerie blue glow as sunlight filters through the ice, refracting into shades of sapphire and aquamarine. Scientists who venture into these subterranean realms describe an almost extraterrestrial sensation, as if stepping into a world untouched by human presence. Strange microbial life thrives in the caves, adapted to conditions more hostile than those found on distant planets. Some theorize that Erebus could hold clues to life beyond Earth, an environment so extreme it mirrors the landscapes of Mars or Europa. The volcano's summit, perpetually cloaked in snow and volcanic ash, remains a place of peril and fascination. The winds howl across its slopes, carrying the scent of sulfur and scorched rock. To stand upon its rim is to witness the raw power of creation itself, a seething, ever-shifting force that has burned for over 1 million years. Erebus is not merely a volcano, it is a gateway into the primordial heart of the planet, where fire and ice dance in an endless, mesmerizing waltz. Further north, deep in the dense rainforests of South America, another anomaly lies concealed within the emerald embrace of the Amazon basin, the boiling river of Peru. Officially known as Timpishka, this steaming waterway defies logic, its waters reaching near boiling temperatures without any apparent volcanic source. The river's origins remain a mystery, as there are no active geothermal vents nearby that could explain its scalding temperatures. It snakes through the jungle like a liquid dragon, its surface veiled in mist, exhaling plumes of vapor that rise into the thick canopy above. The indigenous Ashaninka people speak of the river with reverence and fear, believing it to be a place of spiritual power, guarded by forces beyond human understanding. They tell stories of spirits that dwell beneath its waters, of a giant serpent god that slumbers in its depths, exhaling heat into the riverbed. Scientists speculate that underground fissures channel geothermal energy from deep within the earth. But even this explanation fails to fully account for its existence. To witness the boiling river is to see nature's fury made manifest. Birds that skim too close to the surface are cooked alive in an instant, their bodies swallowed by the relentless current. The riverbanks, lined with twisted roots and steaming rocks, are home to creatures that have adapted to this infernal environment. Despite its lethal temperatures, life thrives here in unexpected forms. Certain hardy microorganisms flourish in the extreme heat, offering glimpses into the resilience of life in the most inhospitable of conditions. The air surrounding the river is thick with humidity, the scent of damp earth and minerals mingling with the ever-present steam. The sound of the water is a constant rushing whisper, an incantation whispered by the jungle itself. Those who have dared to explore its waters speak of a sensation both exhilarating and terrifying, a place where the laws of nature bend and the line between reality and legend blurs. On the other side of the world, hidden in the Arctic's icy grip, a strange and hypnotic phenomenon occurs on the frozen shores of Lake Michigan. During the bitter winter months, a surreal transformation takes place. The formation of ice balls, perfectly rounded spheres of ice that collect along the shoreline in great numbers. These natural marvels appear sculpted by unseen hands, their smooth surfaces glistening under the pale light of the winter sun. The ice balls vary in size, some as small as a pebble, others as large as a boulder. They roll and tumble against each other in the freezing waves, gradually becoming more polished by the relentless movement of the water. Scientists theorize that the process begins when slushy ice in the lake sticks together and is sculpted into spheres by the wind and waves. The result is a sight both enchanting and surreal, a landscape dotted with thousands of frozen orbs, as if the earth itself were playing marbles with the elements. Visitors who stumble upon this strange occurrence are often left in awe, struggling to believe that such a peculiar sight is entirely natural. The ice balls create a sound unlike any other, a delicate clinking and rolling, like the chime of glass bells ringing in the still Arctic air. The shoreline becomes an alien world, frozen in time, where the forces of nature conspire to create art without an artist. In the heart of the Arctic Circle, a towering monolith rises from the frozen tundra like the last relic of an ancient world. This is Ulvatana Peak, one of the most striking and formidable mountains on Earth. Its sheer vertical face pierces the sky, a fortress of jagged rock and ice untouched by time. The peak, whose name means wolf's tooth in Norwegian, is a daunting and isolated wonder, standing defiantly in Queen Maud Land, Antarctica. Unlike other mountains that weather with time, Ulvatana remains eerily pristine, its knife-edged ridges untouched by erosion. The wind howls around it with a voice like a living thing, carving patterns into the ice sheets that cling to its surface. Few have ever attempted to climb it, and even fewer have succeeded. Those who have stood in its shadow describe an overwhelming sense of insignificance, as though standing before something not of this world. The landscape around it is a white abyss, stretching endlessly in all directions, broken only by the stark presence of this impossible peak. Sunlight refracts off the ice at certain angles, casting iridescent blues and greens across its surface, creating an effect so surreal it feels like an illusion. At night, when the Antarctic sky explodes into ribbons of aurora borealis, Ulvatana becomes a silhouette against a celestial firestorm. Here, beneath the unbroken expanse of the cosmos, it is easy to believe that this mountain is more than just rock and ice. It is a monument to something beyond human comprehension, a sentinel standing at the edge of the world. Half a world away, beneath the warm and restless waters of the Caribbean, another mystery lies hidden in the depths: the enigmatic blue hole of Dean's Blue Hole. This seemingly bottomless sinkhole, located in a tranquil bay in the Bahamas, is the deepest known underwater cave of its kind, plunging to an astonishing 202 meters. Its perfectly circular entrance, rimmed by coral and golden sands, leads into a chasm of infinite blue, where the water swallows light and sound in an eerie silence. What makes Dean's Blue Hole even more surreal is the optical illusion it creates. From above, its inky depths appear as though the ocean has been torn open, revealing an abyss that leads straight into the unknown. Divers who descend into its depths describe a sense of weightlessness and isolation unlike any other. The walls of the sinkhole vanish into darkness, and below, an endless void stretches on, making it easy to lose all sense of direction. At its lower levels, mysterious caverns branch off into uncharted tunnels, their contents unknown, their secrets locked away in perpetual twilight. Marine life drifts lazily around the entrance, vibrant fish and delicate jellyfish moving like phantoms against the vast blue backdrop. The water here is so clear that it seems unreal, as if one is floating in nothingness itself. Yet the deeper one goes, the more alien it becomes. Some explorers claim to have seen strange flashes of bioluminescence in the abyss, brief pulses of light hinting at life adapted to these extreme conditions. Others speak of an unsettling quiet, a feeling that they are not alone in the dark. The Blue Hole has long been steeped in legend, with local folklore whispering of sea spirits that guard its depths. Fishermen tell tales of creatures lurking in the shadows, of voices calling from the water, luring the unsuspecting down into the void. Whether truth or myth, the Blue Hole remains one of Earth's most mesmerizing anomalies, a portal to an underwater world that defies the imagination. Moving inland, where the rugged landscapes of North Africa meet the open desert, the stunning oasis of the Enedi Plateau emerges like a vision from another time. Located in Chad, this vast sandstone labyrinth is one of the most isolated and unexplored landscapes on the planet. Towering rock formations rise like the ruins of an ancient civilization, their weathered faces carved into arches, pillars, and towering spires that defy gravity. Some formations resemble creatures frozen in stone, giant elephants, twisted serpents, or massive figures that seem to watch silently over the endless sands. The terrain is an ever-changing dreamscape of light and shadow, where the sun paints the rock in shifting hues of gold, crimson, and violet. Hidden within the cliffs, prehistoric cave paintings reveal the stories of those who once called this place home. Images of giraffes, warriors, and celestial beings adorn the rock, a reminder that this desolate land was once fertile and teeming with life. Some believe the plateau may still hold undiscovered secrets, underground chambers, lost passages, remnants of a forgotten civilization buried beneath the sands. Yet despite its isolation, life thrives here in surprising ways. Rare desert crocodiles lurk in hidden pools, their ancestors having survived in this harsh environment for thousands of years. The wind, a constant sculptor, whispers through the narrow canyons, carrying the scent of ancient dust and the echoes of a world long past. The Enedi Plateau is a place where time holds no dominion, where the bones of history stand exposed beneath an endless sky. Thousands of miles away, hidden deep within the untamed wilderness of Canada, lies one of the most perplexing and unexplored regions on Earth, the Nahanni National Park Reserve. Encompassing a vast stretch of the Northwest Territories, this remote landscape is home to some of the most dramatic natural wonders ever witnessed. Towering waterfalls plunge into mist-filled valleys. Rivers slice through deep canyons, and jagged mountains rise like the backs of slumbering beasts. But what sets Nahanni apart is the eerie reputation that shrouds it in mystery, the so-called Valley of the Headless Men. For centuries, indigenous tribes have warned that Nahanni is a cursed land, a place where those who enter often do not return. In the early 20th century, prospectors searching for gold vanished without a trace, their decapitated remains found years later. More chilling still, their wealth was untouched, suggesting that whatever took their lives had no interest in treasure. Other eerie tales speak of strange lights flickering in the sky, shadowy figures moving through the fog, and unexplained whispers carried on the wind. Despite these ominous legends, the landscape itself is breathtaking beyond measure. The thunderous Virginia Falls, nearly twice the height of Niagara, crashes into a chasm lined with sheer rock walls. Below, the Nahanni River carves its way through the wilderness, its turquoise waters reflecting the sky above. Rare wildlife, from elusive wolves to massive wood bison, roam the forests and tundra, living undisturbed in a world few have set foot in. Some explorers believe Nahanni holds secrets yet to be uncovered, perhaps ancient cave systems untouched by time, or even lost evidence of a civilization long erased from history. Others, however, heed the warnings of the past, leaving the Valley of the Headless Men to its ghostly solitude. Whatever the truth, Nahanni remains one of the last great frontiers of the unknown, a land where myth and reality blur into one. Deep within the vast expanse of Siberia, in a land where winter never truly relinquishes its grip, an enormous crater gapes open in the permafrost. This is the Batagaika crater, a place as eerie as it is mesmerizing, often referred to as the gateway to the underworld by locals. Stretching over 1 kilometer in length and sinking deeper every year, this scar in the Earth's surface is a result of the warming climate, an ever-growing chasm where the past and future collide. The walls of the crater reveal layers of Earth's history, each stratum exposing secrets frozen in time for thousands of years. Bones of long-extinct creatures, mammoths, prehistoric horses, and ancient bison have emerged from its depths, their remains astonishingly preserved in the icy ground. Some believe that as the crater continues to expand, it may yet reveal fossils of species unknown to science, creatures lost to time yet now beckoning from the abyss. But the Batagaika crater is more than just an archaeological gold mine. It is a living entity, an ever-changing landscape where eerie groans and rumbles echo from the depths, as if the Earth itself is breathing. Scientists have warned that as the permafrost thaws, vast amounts of trapped greenhouse gases could be released into the atmosphere, accelerating climate change. This growing wound in Siberia is both a marvel and a warning, proof that nature is constantly shifting, that even the most ancient landscapes are not as immutable as they seem. Far from Siberia's frozen wilderness, nestled within the dense jungles of Venezuela, lies a place so otherworldly that it seems more like the surface of an alien planet than part of Earth. The Tepuis, ancient tabletop mountains, rise abruptly from the rainforest, their sheer cliffs reaching into the clouds. Among these, one of the most breathtaking is Mount Autana, a massive, isolated monolith carved by time and weather into a shape that defies reason. What makes Mount Autana particularly astonishing is the fact that it is a hollow mountain, a natural cathedral hidden within stone. A vast network of caves and tunnels runs through its core, some filled with crystal-clear pools and subterranean rivers. The caves are among the oldest on the planet, their formations dating back over 1 billion years, an age so immense that it is nearly incomprehensible. Legends among the indigenous Piaroa people tell of Mount Autana as the Tree of Life, the remnants of a giant primordial tree that once connected heaven and earth. They believe its hollow interior is sacred, a place where spirits dwell, watching over the land. Even for modern explorers, the experience of stepping into its echoing caverns, surrounded by towering walls of quartz and ancient stalactites, is nothing short of awe-inspiring. The air inside is thick with humidity and mystery, the silence occasionally broken by the distant sound of dripping water, as if the mountain itself is whispering secrets from deep within. Mount Autana stands as a sentinel of time, a place untouched by modern civilization. It is a reminder that some landscapes are not merely geological formations, but rather remnants of a forgotten past, echoes of a world that existed long before humanity took its first steps. Across the globe, in the vast deserts of Iran, an extraordinary spectacle unfolds in the dead of night. Deep within the Dasht-e-Kavir, Iran's largest desert, lies a region where the earth appears to glow with an eerie, pulsating light. This is the phenomenon of the starry salt flats, a place where millions of tiny salt crystals catch the moonlight, creating an illusion of a galaxy scattered across the ground. The effect is most breathtaking after a rare rainfall, when a thin layer of water settles over the desert floor, turning it into a mirror that reflects the cosmos above. It is an optical illusion so perfect that it becomes impossible to distinguish the heavens from the earth, as though one has stepped into an infinite expanse of stars. For those who witness it, the experience is transcendent. Standing in the heart of the desert, surrounded by celestial reflections, time and space lose all meaning. But the Dasht-e-Kavir is not just a place of beauty, it is also a land of extreme survival. The desert's surface, composed of cracked salt and shifting dunes, is one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. Temperatures soar to blistering levels during the day, then plummet into freezing cold at night. Few creatures can endure its harsh conditions, yet life persists in unexpected forms. Hardy shrubs that extract moisture from the air, elusive sand cats that prowl beneath the stars, and scorpions that glow under ultraviolet light, their exoskeletons revealing spectral shades of green and blue. Yet it is the silence of the desert that is most haunting. There are no birds, no rustling leaves, no flowing water, only an unbroken quiet that presses in from all sides. In such a place, far from the noise of civilization, it is easy to understand why ancient travelers believed the desert was inhabited by spirits, that the shifting dunes were alive, whispering in the wind. Meanwhile, on the distant shores of Madagascar, another wonder of nature rises from the earth, unlike anything seen elsewhere. This is Tsingy de Bemaraha, a vast forest of limestone pinnacles so sharp and impenetrable that it is often referred to as the stone forest. These needle-like formations, some reaching heights of over 100 meters, create a labyrinth so treacherous that even the most skilled explorers must navigate it with caution. What makes Tsingy even more astonishing is the fact that life thrives here against all odds. The forest is home to a variety of endemic species, tiny lemurs that leap effortlessly between razor-thin spires, camouflaged geckos that disappear against the limestone, and carnivorous plants that have adapted to extract nutrients from the air itself. Scientists believe that many species here have never been documented, hidden within the deep crevices of the stone, their existence unknown to the world. From above, Tsingy de Bemaraha resembles a frozen sea, a place where waves of rock seem to crash against the horizon. The formations have been shaped over millions of years, sculpted by rain and wind into the jagged masterpiece that exists today. Some of its crevices are so deep and narrow that sunlight never reaches their depths, leaving entire ecosystems shrouded in perpetual twilight. Despite its formidable landscape, the region is considered sacred by the Malagasy people, who believe that spirits inhabit the labyrinth. Local guides tell of strange occurrences within Tsingy, of shadows that move without cause, of eerie sounds echoing from unseen chambers. Whether these are myths or echoes of something yet undiscovered remains an open question. Rising from the dense jungles of Indonesia, a colossal megalithic structure remains shrouded in mystery, older than even the Egyptian pyramids. Gunung Padang, often called the Pyramid of the Lost Civilization, is an ancient site that defies explanation. Unlike other ruins in Southeast Asia, this enigmatic complex is not simply a temple or an abandoned settlement. It is an entire mountain, meticulously shaped and constructed over thousands of years. Massive basalt columns, arranged in symmetrical terraces, form the foundations of this forgotten marvel. As archaeologists probe deeper, they have uncovered evidence suggesting that the structure is not a natural hill, but rather a pyramid-like formation buried beneath layers of soil and vegetation. Some researchers believe it could be the remnants of a lost civilization, dating back more than 20,000 years, an age so unfathomably old that it challenges everything we thought we knew about human history. The mystery of Gunung Padang deepens with its legends. Local folklore speaks of an advanced people who built the site using knowledge long lost to time, harnessing forces beyond modern understanding. Strange electromagnetic readings have been detected within the structure, suggesting hidden chambers buried deep beneath the surface. Some speculate that these underground vaults may contain relics or writings from an era predating recorded history, waiting to rewrite the story of civilization itself. Standing atop the terraces of Gunung Padang, one feels an overwhelming sense of awe, as though standing on the precipice of an ancient truth long forgotten. The jungle hums with life around the ruins, vines creeping over stone steps that have endured for millennia. It is a place where time collapses, where the past whispers through the wind, urging us to look deeper into our origins. Thousands of miles away, on the frigid shores of Greenland, an icy anomaly lies concealed beneath the vast expanse of the frozen wilderness. The Hiawatha Crater, a massive impact crater hidden beneath nearly a kilometer of ice, was only recently discovered, an ancient scar in the Earth's surface, evidence of a cataclysmic event that may have changed the course of history. Scientists believe the crater, measuring over 31 kilometers in diameter, was formed by a massive asteroid impact, possibly one of the most significant in human history. Some theorists even suggest that this event could be linked to the sudden climate shifts that triggered the end of the last ice age. If true, it means that the Hiawatha impact may have wiped out early civilizations, altering the trajectory of human evolution in ways we have yet to fully understand. Exploring the frozen depths of the crater is nearly impossible. The ice, shifting and relentless, hides its secrets well, but radar imaging has revealed traces of an enormous impact, evidence of a fiery explosion that would have sent shockwaves around the world. Some believe that the comet or asteroid responsible may have been part of a larger celestial event, one that left its mark on cultures across the globe, passed down in myths and stories of great floods and cosmic devastation. The icy landscape of Greenland is eerily silent, its frozen rivers and towering glaciers stretching as far as the eye can see. Beneath this desolation, however, lies a story written in fire and stone, waiting to be deciphered. The Hiawatha crater serves as a reminder that our planet has been shaped by forces beyond our control, that even now, hidden beneath the ice, there are truths yet to be uncovered. On the opposite side of the world, deep within the Australian outback, another geological marvel baffles scientists and travelers alike. The Pinnacles Desert, a vast expanse of limestone formations rising from golden sand dunes, appears like a surreal alien landscape, a place where stone sentinels stand in eerie silence, casting long shadows beneath the scorching sun. What makes the pinnacles so unusual is the sheer variety of their shapes and sizes. Some formations resemble jagged towers, others take the form of rounded domes, while some appear almost like ancient tombstones, scattered haphazardly across the desert. Theories on their origin vary. Some suggest that they are the remnants of an ancient seabed, eroded by time, while others believe they were formed by a unique combination of wind, water, and the slow dissolution of limestone. As the sun sets, the desert transforms into a realm of shadows and golden light, the formations glowing like embers against the darkening sky. At night, the Milky Way stretches overhead in breathtaking clarity, its reflection mirrored in the stillness of the sand. Aboriginal legends speak of the pinnacles as the remnants of an ancient battle between spirits, their towering shapes frozen in time as a reminder of past conflicts. There is an almost mystical quality to this place, an uncanny feeling that the pinnacles were not merely shaped by nature, but by something beyond our understanding. Walking through the endless maze of stone, one can't help but feel like an intruder in an ancient cathedral, where the echoes of time still linger in the desert air. Across the Pacific Ocean, hidden within the dense forests of the Philippines, another enigma lies concealed in the mountains of Bohol. The Chocolate Hills, named for their distinct shape and color, are a natural phenomenon unlike anything else in the world. Over 1,000 perfectly conical hills rise in uniform patterns across the landscape, their slopes covered in lush grass that turns a deep shade of brown during the dry season, giving them the appearance of endless chocolate mounds. Geologists have long debated the origins of the Chocolate Hills. Some believe they were formed by the slow erosion of limestone over millions of years, while others suggest that they may have been shaped by ancient coral deposits that once lay beneath the sea. However, local folklore offers a more poetic explanation, a story of two feuding giants who hurled boulders at one another for days, only to reconcile and leave their battlefield behind, the stones remaining as eternal reminders of their conflict. The sight of these perfectly shaped hills stretching endlessly into the horizon is almost hypnotic, as if one has stumbled into a dreamlike landscape conjured from another world. During sunrise and sunset, the hills glow with hues of amber and copper, their silhouettes creating an undulating pattern across the land. From certain vantage points, the sheer number of them is overwhelming, a rolling sea of earth that extends as far as the eye can see. In the heart of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a breathtaking yet ominous natural wonder dominates the horizon. The Nyiragongo volcano, home to one of the world's largest and most volatile lava lakes. Rising above the dense jungles of Virunga National Park, This colossal stratovolcano is both a force of destruction and an unparalleled spectacle, a churning cauldron of fire that has mesmerized explorers and terrified those who dwell in its shadow. Unlike most volcanoes, Nyiragongo's lava is unusually fluid, flowing like water rather than the slow-moving molten rock seen elsewhere. This unique characteristic makes it one of the most dangerous volcanoes on the planet. Its eruptions are not gradual but explosive, sending rivers of molten rock racing down its slopes at speeds fast enough to outpace humans. In 2002, such an eruption obliterated entire neighborhoods in the city of Goma, leaving behind a haunting landscape of hardened black lava, frozen mid-motion, as if time itself had stopped. Yet despite its fury, Nyiragongo is a place of profound beauty. The lava lake, an ever-boiling pit of fiery orange and crimson, casts an eerie glow against the night sky, illuminating the surrounding clouds with an otherworldly radiance. The sight of this infernal abyss is hypnotic. Molten waves rise and fall in rhythmic patterns, a heartbeat of the earth itself. Scientists studying Nyiragongo have reported hearing a deep, resonant sound emanating from the lava, a low-frequency hum that vibrates through the air like an ancient song from the core of the planet. The trek to Nyiragongo's summit is an arduous journey, passing through lush rainforests teeming with mountain gorillas and rare wildlife before reaching the barren, wind-swept heights of the volcano. Those who brave the climb and peer into its depths describe a feeling unlike any other, a sense of standing at the very gateway to creation and destruction, where the earth is at its most raw and untamed. Far to the north, where the frozen tundra of Russia stretches endlessly into the horizon, another anomaly baffles scientists and travelers alike: the Potomsky crater. This mysterious dome-like mound of shattered rock, located in the remote Siberian wilderness, looks like the aftermath of a cosmic impact, yet no definitive explanation exists for its formation. Discovered in 1949 by geologist Vadim Kolpakov, the crater stands nearly 40 meters high and spans 160 meters in diameter. Unlike typical meteorite impact sites, it lacks the expected debris or mineral composition associated with such events. Some theories suggest it was formed by underground gas explosions. Others believe it could be the remnants of a long-extinct volcano. But what makes the Potomsky crater truly perplexing is its strange magnetic properties. Compasses spin erratically in its vicinity, and animals avoid the area, as if sensing an unseen force lingering within the stones. Even more unsettling are the accounts of those who have visited the crater and experienced sudden waves of nausea, dizziness, or an unshakable sense of unease. Some researchers speculate that the site may be linked to a secretive geological event that has yet to be understood, while others entertain wilder theories: ancient nuclear explosions, extraterrestrial activity, or even a long-forgotten impact that shaped the land in ways we have yet to comprehend. Surrounded by dense taiga forest and isolated from the modern world, the Potomsky crater remains one of Earth's last great geological riddles, a reminder that there are places on our planet where the rules of nature seem to bend, where the answers lie buried beneath layers of time and secrecy. Across the Atlantic, in the high-altitude plains of Peru, another enigma stretches across the land: the sprawling, ancient carvings known as the Band of Holes. Nestled along the barren slopes of the Pisco Valley, this bizarre formation consists of thousands of man-made depressions, perfectly arranged in rows that extend for miles. Some are shallow, others deep enough for a person to stand in, yet their purpose remains an unsolved mystery. Unlike the more famous Nazca lines, which depict animals and geometric shapes, the Band of Holes lacks any recognizable pattern or artistic intention. Were they granaries, used by the ancient Inca for food storage, burial sites for an unknown civilization, or something far stranger, perhaps markers for an ancient astronomical calendar or a code waiting to be deciphered. Even satellite images fail to provide clarity, instead revealing an even more perplexing detail. The holes are not randomly placed, but appear to follow an intentional design, as if created by a civilization with knowledge we have yet to understand. Some researchers believe the band of holes could be connected to a lost, pre-Incan culture, one that thrived in the region long before the rise of the great Andean empires. Standing amidst the endless rows of these mysterious indentations, one cannot help but feel an overwhelming sense of wonder. The sheer scale of the effort required to carve thousands of these formations into the earth suggests an advanced society with a purpose lost to time. Until the mystery is unraveled, the band of holes will continue to spark curiosity, a cryptic message from the past that defies explanation. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, where light fades into an eternal twilight, a geological phenomenon of unparalleled strangeness lies hidden: the underwater river of Cenote Angelita. Located in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, this submerged marvel appears to be an ordinary cenote at first glance, a deep sinkhole filled with crystal-clear water. But as divers descend past 30 meters, an astonishing sight emerges. What looks like a flowing river, complete with a visible current, fallen tree branches, and even a distinct shoreline. This illusion is the result of a rare natural occurrence known as a halocline, where waters of different salinities separate, creating the stunning effect of an underwater river. The dense, heavier layer of hydrogen sulfide forms a thick, mist-like boundary, creating the eerie appearance of a river running beneath the cenote's depths. To divers, the effect is surreal, as if they have entered a world where reality has folded in on itself, where rivers flow beneath the ocean and forests exist submerged in silence. What makes Cenote Angelita even more fascinating is its role in Mayan history. The cenotes of the Yucatan were considered sacred gateways to the underworld, known as Xibalba. Rituals and offerings were often made in these deep, mysterious pools, and some cenotes have been found to contain artifacts, pottery, and even human remains, suggesting that they were used for ceremonies of great spiritual significance. Descending into the waters of Cenote Angelita is like entering another dimension, where the rules of nature blur and the boundary between land and sea dissolves. Those who have ventured into its depths describe an experience that is both awe-inspiring and unnerving, as if stepping through a doorway into a world that exists beneath our own, hidden just beyond the reach of ordinary sight. In the remote reaches of the Pacific Ocean, where the waves roll endlessly into the horizon, an island emerges like a vision from another world. This is the island of Yonaguni, Japan's westernmost territory, a place where the boundaries between myth and reality blur beneath the sea. Just off its rocky coast lies one of the most controversial underwater structures ever discovered, the Yonaguni Monument, an immense stone formation that appears to be an ancient sunken city. Beneath the cerulean waters, massive stone terraces rise from the seabed, their edges sharp and geometric, as if carved by human hands. Giant staircases, flat platforms, and towering pillars suggest the remains of a forgotten civilization, one that may have existed before recorded history. Some researchers believe Yonaguni could be the remnants of an ancient, lost city swallowed by the ocean thousands of years ago, possibly connected to the fabled lost continent of Mu. Others argue that the monument is a natural formation, sculpted by tectonic activity and underwater erosion over millennia. Yet, as divers explore the depths, they find more questions than answers. strange symbols etched into the rock, precise 90-degree angles, and what appear to be roads and walls defy simple geological explanations. Schools of fish weave through the submerged corridors, their movements undisturbed by the weight of history that rests beneath the waves. Whether a natural anomaly or the ruins of an advanced civilization long forgotten, the Yonaguni Monument remains one of the ocean's greatest mysteries. The currents that flow through its depths whisper of secrets lost to time, inviting those who dare to dive into the unknown to uncover the truth of this enigmatic place. From frozen depths to the lush jungles of South America, another awe-inspiring sight emerges. Serrania de la Macarena, home to the dazzling Cano Cristales, often called the River of Five Colors. This extraordinary waterway in Colombia appears as though it has been plucked from a dream, its waters shifting between brilliant shades of red, blue, yellow, green, and black. The vibrant colors are not a trick of the light, nor are they the result of minerals in the water. Instead, they come from an aquatic plant known as Macarenia clavigera, which blooms in vivid hues under the right conditions. For a few magical months each year, when the water level is just right and the sun shines at the perfect angle, the river transforms into a flowing canvas of color, unlike anything else on Earth. Travelers who venture to Cano Cristales often describe it as a place where reality itself seems to bend, where nature has created something so impossibly beautiful that it defies logic. The river winds through rocky canyons, its waters so clear that every ripple and swirl of color is visible beneath the surface. Small waterfalls cascade over smooth stones, their currents dancing through the spectrum of colors like brushstrokes on a living painting. The indigenous people of the region consider Cano Cristales sacred, believing it to be a place where the earth's spirit reveals itself in full splendor. To walk along its banks is to witness something truly transcendent, a fleeting moment of perfection in a world constantly shifting and changing. Across the ocean, hidden within the dense forests of New Zealand, another marvel awaits. Lake Rotomahana, a volcanic lake that holds the remnants of the lost pink and white terraces. Once considered the eighth wonder of the world, these stunning formations were vast silica terraces that cascaded down into the water, their delicate steps glowing in shades of pink and ivory. For centuries, they were a site of wonder and pilgrimage, drawing visitors from around the world to bathe in their warm, mineral-rich waters. But in 1886, disaster struck. A massive eruption of Mount Tarawera obliterated the terraces, burying them beneath layers of ash and reshaping the landscape forever. For over a century, they were thought to be lost, their beauty erased from history. But recent discoveries have reignited hope. Scientists using sonar imaging have found evidence that parts of the terraces may still exist, hidden beneath the depths of Lake Rotomahana. If true, they could be among the most remarkable geological survivors in the world, fragments of a lost paradise waiting to be rediscovered. Beneath the vast expanse of human civilization, where towering skyscrapers and bustling streets define the modern world, there exists a place where nature and engineering collide in an astonishing display of innovation. This is Rotterdam, a city unlike any other, a place where the future has been built upon the waters of the past. At first glance, Rotterdam appears as a modern metropolis, a city of sleek, geometric buildings reflecting the ever-changing sky. But beneath its surface, an extraordinary feat of engineering reshapes the very idea of urban living, the floating pavilion. These enormous, interconnected domes, resembling giant glass bubbles upon the water, are not just architectural marvels, but a bold vision of how humanity may one day live alongside rising seas. Rotterdam has long been shaped by water, a city constantly adapting to the tides and storms that threaten its foundations. Unlike other places that fight against the sea, Rotterdam embraces it, creating floating parks, waterborne neighborhoods, and experimental designs that allow the city to grow not on land, but upon the very waves themselves. It is a glimpse into the future, a world where cities no longer resist nature but move with it. But Rotterdam's wonders extend beyond the futuristic. Deep within its urban sprawl, an artistic enigma lies hidden in plain sight: kubuswoningen, or the cube houses. These gravity-defying tilted structures stand at impossible angles, their bright yellow facades casting geometric shadows upon the streets below. Walking through them feels like stepping into an Escher painting, where perception bends and buildings appear to balance upon their corners like floating dice. And then, there is the Maislandkering, a colossal storm surge barrier that stands as one of the largest moving structures on Earth. When the sea rises in fury, threatening to flood the city, this behemoth swings shut, sealing Rotterdam off from disaster. It is a triumph of human ingenuity, an answer to the relentless force of nature that has shaped the Netherlands for centuries. Yet, despite its technological marvels, Rotterdam remains a city that listens to the past. Among its streets stand the remnants of the old world, where cobblestone paths whisper the stories of those who walked them long before steel and glass came to dominate the skyline. It is a place of resilience, where history and the future meet upon the water's edge, forever shifting, forever evolving. Far beyond the man-made wonders of Rotterdam, deep in the untamed wilderness of Iceland, another spectacle unfolds: Litli Hrútur, an extraordinary volcano that recently awakened after centuries of slumber. Here, amidst the desolate beauty of the Reykjanes Peninsula, the earth splits open, releasing rivers of molten rock that flow like liquid fire across the blackened landscape. Unlike violent, explosive eruptions, Litli Hrútur is mesmerizing in its steady, hypnotic outpouring of lava. Fountains of red and orange burst skyward, illuminating the night in an otherworldly glow. As the molten rivers cool, they form intricate patterns, their surfaces cracking and shifting as the earth reshapes itself in real time. It is a living, breathing reminder that our planet is never truly still, that beneath our feet, forces older than time itself continue their relentless work. To stand before an erupting volcano is to witness creation itself, to feel the raw pulse of the world as it builds and destroys in the same breath. The air is thick with the scent of sulfur. The ground trembles with each burst of lava, and the heat radiating from the flow is enough to scorch the skin. And yet, there is beauty in the chaos. A fiery ballet of destruction and renewal, a glimpse into the forces that forged the very land we walk upon. While Iceland's volcanic landscapes are among the most dramatic on Earth, another land of fire and stone lies hidden across the world, beneath the dense rainforests of Indonesia. Deep within the lush greenery of Java, the eerie glow of the Ayen crater reveals a sight so bizarre it seems almost impossible. Blue flames, rising from the earth like ghostly specters in the night. Unlike ordinary fire, which burns with hues of red and orange, the flames of Ayen glow an electric blue, their light flickering against the rocky slopes of the volcano. This phenomenon is caused by the combustion of sulfuric gases, which ignite as they escape from the crater's depths, creating an effect so surreal it appears to defy the very laws of nature. Within the crater itself lies another marvel: the world's largest highly acidic lake, a surreal expanse of turquoise water so toxic that it can dissolve metal. Despite its deadly nature, the lake's ethereal beauty is undeniable, its vibrant colors shifting in the dawn light as mist rises from its surface. The contrast between the eerie blue fire and the luminous waters creates a landscape that feels almost otherworldly, a place where the elements engage in an endless dance of creation and destruction. Yet, despite the dangers, life persists here. Miners, armed with little more than basic tools, descend into the crater each day to extract raw sulfur, carrying enormous chunks of the mineral upon their backs. Their silhouettes, framed against the glowing flames, appear as figures from another time. Workers in a hellish landscape sculpted by fire and fumes. From the burning heart of Java, we travel across the Indian Ocean to a place of staggering natural beauty, the towering cliffs of Bunda Cliffs in Australia. Known as the edge of the world, these sheer limestone walls rise dramatically from the Southern Ocean, stretching for over 100 kilometers in an unbroken, awe-inspiring line. Standing atop the cliffs, the view is nothing short of breathtaking. The turquoise waters crash against the base of the precipice, sending white plumes of spray skyward. Below, the waves have carved massive caves and arches into the rock, shaping the land through endless centuries of erosion. Above, the sky stretches in all directions, an endless vault of blue that meets the horizon in a seamless embrace. But the cliffs hold more than just scenic beauty. They are a place of deep geological significance. Fossils embedded within their walls tell the story of an ancient seabed, a time when the land beneath our feet was submerged beneath vast prehistoric oceans. To gaze upon them is to peer back into Earth's distant past, to see in stone the record of worlds that came before our own. High above the world, where the thin air hums with silence and the sky stretches into infinity, an isolated peak stands as a testament to the extremes of nature. Mount Thor, Canada's great granite sentinel. Located in the remote wilderness of Baffin Island, this monolithic cliff face holds a staggering record, the greatest vertical drop on Earth. Its west face plummets an astonishing 1,250 meters, a sheer, uninterrupted wall of rock that seems to defy gravity itself. Unlike other peaks that erode into jagged ridges over time, Mount Thor remains eerily smooth, as if sculpted by unseen hands. The scale of it is almost unfathomable. Standing at its base, the cliff looms overhead like an impossible gateway into the heavens. It is a place that has humbled even the most daring climbers, its surface so steep that a single misstep could mean falling into eternity. But for all its harshness, Mount Thor is a place of pristine beauty. During the long Arctic summer, the sun never truly sets, casting an ethereal glow upon the icy rivers and tundra that surround it. The air, crisp and untouched by pollution, carries the scent of ancient stone and frost. And above, the auroras dance in spectral waves, illuminating the mountain with ribbons of green and violet, as if the sky itself pays homage to its silent guardian. From the frozen heights of Canada, we journey to the deepest abyss of the ocean, to a place so remote that only a handful of humans have ever seen it with their own eyes. The Mariana Trench, Earth's deepest known point, plunges nearly 11 kilometers into an eternal blackness, a world where crushing pressure and utter darkness reign. Down here, in the Challenger Deep, creatures unlike any found on the surface drift through an alien landscape. Translucent fish with bioluminescent patterns, shrimp-like organisms that glow in the dark, and gelatinous beings that pulse with an eerie inner light. Some of these creatures have never been seen before, their existence a reminder that even in the most extreme environments, life finds a way. The silence in the trench is absolute. There is no current, no sound of crashing waves, only an endless, inky void where time seems to cease. And yet, in this abyss, new discoveries continue to unfold. Strange, metallic-like structures have been found resting on the seabed, hinting at unknown geological processes. The deep holds secrets we have only begun to understand, its darkness a reminder that, even on our own planet, entire worlds remain hidden from view. Nestled in the highlands of Jalisco, where the road coils like a serpent through green valleys and agave fields, lies a place of mystery and legend, Tequila Volcano. While the town of Tequila attracts pilgrims of spirits and celebration, the volcano itself remains relatively untouched, a slumbering giant cloaked in forest and stone. The air grows cooler as you ascend, and the agave gives way to oaks and pines, their branches alive with birdsong. Hiking the slopes is like peeling away the layers of an ancient fable. Volcán de Tequila is not defined by lava or smoke, but by silence. Its summit, long extinct, is home to a massive crater basin over a kilometer wide, shrouded in mist and moss. Standing at its edge, the world falls away beneath your feet. Clouds drift below like wool torn from the sky, and the breeze carries the stories of Nahuatl elders who still speak of the mountain with reverence. They say the volcano guards secrets, seeds of creation and transformation buried deep in its heart. On clear days, you can see for miles the blue shimmer of Lake Chapala, the silver sprawl of the tequila fields, the quiet undulations of a land older than memory. And yet, the true magic lies in the stillness. Sit among the rocks. Let the wind pass over your skin, and you'll feel it, that ancient pulse beneath the surface. It is not loud, it does not demand, but it is steady, eternal, waiting. At the edge of the crater, time slows, and you understand that some destinations are not meant to entertain. They are meant to awaken. Where the Andes descend in wild waves toward the Amazon basin, a secret world of waterfalls and cloud forests unfurls in the hidden paradise of Gocta, Peru. The waterfall itself, a twin-ribboned giant, tumbles from the heavens in an endless roaring plunge, its mist weaving silver veils through the thick green of the jungle. To reach it is no casual stroll. It is a passage through dense ferns and ancient moss-shrouded trees, each step accompanied by the heartbeat of unseen birds and the occasional flash of a brilliant butterfly dancing through shafts of sunlight. Local legend tells of a mermaid who guards these waters, and standing before the roaring immensity of Gocta, it is easy to believe that the land itself is alive with spirit. The falls were hidden from the outside world until astonishingly recently, only officially recorded in 2005, though villagers had long known of their power and mystery. The trail winds along ridges that open suddenly to sweeping vistas of endless green valleys, the world a riot of life and motion, every leaf trembling with the breath of the forest. Approaching the base, the thunder of the falls grows until it vibrates in your bones, and the cool spray kisses your skin, making the air electric and alive. Look up, and the cascade disappears into a vault of sky so high it seems to belong to another world altogether. Monkeys chatter distantly in the canopy, and somewhere deep within the endless forest, jaguars move like shadows, unseen but ever present. Gocta is not a tourist attraction. It is an initiation, a journey into a living cathedral of water and stone, where nature reigns not with gentleness, but with awe-inspiring majesty. Amid the emerald cliffs and primordial stillness of Hunan lies a natural cathedral that defies both scale and expectation. Zhangjiajie's Tianmen Mountain. More than a summit, it is a throne of clouds, crowned by the fabled Heaven's Gate, a colossal arch punched into the mountain's face by time and elemental force. Approaching Tianmen is not a journey, it is a rite. The ascent begins with the world's longest cable car, lifting travelers from the bustle of Zhangjiajie City into the domain of clouds. As the city slips away, replaced by towering karst spires wrapped in mist, you enter another reality, one suspended between sky and stone. The mountain is a maze of wonders. There is the vertiginous glass skywalk, curling along sheer cliffs with nothing but air between your feet and a 1,000-meter drop. You feel each step in your chest. The wind brushes your skin like a ghost. And far below, the world curves away in silence. Then, there are the 999 steps, a staircase that snakes its way from the base to Heaven's Gate, winding like a dragon's spine, demanding a pilgrimage of will and breath. As you climb, the rock seems to rise with you. Mist coils through the trees. Birds drift below. And when you finally reach the arch itself, 94 meters tall and 60 meters wide, you do not look out. You look through into a space that feels like it leads to another realm. Legends say this is where heaven touches the earth, that those who pass beneath the gate are blessed with vision beyond this world. Whether you believe it or not, the air here feels thinner, sharper, touched by something ancient. And when the clouds part, revealing the full sweep of the Wulingyuan landscape, those pillar-like mountains that inspired Pandora in Avatar, it is not beauty you feel, but reverence. Because here, standing in the doorway between worlds, you do not witness nature. You stand within its soul. And from the green jungle, leap into the flame-stained sky of Ethiopia's Tigray region, where the rock-hewn churches of Abuna Yamata Gu defy gravity and reason. There is no place on earth like it, and no path more humbling. You begin at the base of a cliff that rises more than 2,500 meters into a cobalt sky. From there, it's a vertical ascent. No steps, no railings, just barefoot on the stone. Your fingers gripping ancient handholds, the wind roaring past like a warning. The climb alone feels like a rite of passage, a test of faith even for the faithless. At the summit, carved directly into the sandstone face of the mountain, waits a tiny chapel, unreachable by road, untouched by modernity, and unshaken by time. Its entrance is a narrow ledge with a sheer drop on either side. There is no safety net, only space, air, and conviction. Inside, by flickering candlelight, the walls bloom with frescoes painted more than 1,000 years ago. Faces of saints, wings of angels, and the great eyes of prophets staring out from ochre and indigo, preserved in sacred stillness. The room smells of dust, of wax, of history. Outside, the view is biblical, a panorama of canyons, peaks, and clouds, all spread beneath you like the opening lines of Scripture. This is not a tourist site. It's a secret between man and God. And whether you believe in divinity or not, in that moment, standing where monks once carried scrolls in silence, where barefoot pilgrims still arrive with trembling hands, you feel something vast, something impossible. Now the horizon shifts, and the lush green highlands of central Papua New Guinea unfurl like a living tapestry. Within this maze of river valleys and cloud-wreathed peaks lies Lake Kutubu, emerald, immaculate, untouched. Its surface reflects the sky like a mirror laid upon the earth, ringed by thick forests and villages built from palm and bamboo. The lake appears almost otherworldly, a secret pool of ancient life hidden from all but the most determined traveler. Few roads penetrate this remote region, and fewer still dare venture beyond them. The people of the Kutubu region have lived here for generations, their way of life largely unaltered by the modern world. Canoes glide silently across the water, paddled by villagers whose traditions are steeped in myth and reverence for the land. Their homes sit perched above the lake on wooden stilts, and at night, warm lamplight glows through hand-woven walls like distant stars scattered across a jungle sky. Beneath the surface, the lake holds rare species of fish found nowhere else on Earth, including the sleek and shimmering kutubu rainbow fish, a living jewel in liquid glass. But it's the air here that lingers in memory long after you've gone. It's thick with scent, ferns, wood smoke, rain, and sound, the hush of trees, the far-off beat of a garamut drum. There's something sacred in the stillness, something ancient in the echo. Lake Kutubu doesn't just exist, it breathes. Where the mountains bow to the plains of Puebla, an eerie marvel lies tucked within the earth, a cavernous dreamscape known as Grutas Carmidas. These caves are not carved by men, but sculpted by the patience of millennia, shaped drop by drop, layer by layer, into subterranean cathedrals of wonder. Descending into the cave is like entering another dimension. The light dims, the air cools, and the walls shimmer with mineral frost. Silence deepens, broken only by the sound of dripping water echoing into the abyss. Inside, the world transforms. Stalactites and stalagmites rise and fall like frozen waterfalls, their surfaces catching glimmers from the lanterns of explorers. Some formations resemble animals in mid-prowl. Others mimic the folds of curtains or the wings of angels. There is a room known as El Salón de los Diamantes, the Hall of Diamonds, where the walls glitter as though dusted with stars. In another, named El Templo, the stone pillars stretch so high they vanish into shadow, like the columns of some forgotten divine hall. Each step reveals a new chamber, a new secret. The cave feels alive, breathing in rhythms too slow to hear. Touching the stone is like placing your hand on the memory of the earth itself. And in those depths, disconnected from sunlight and sky, one becomes startlingly aware of the miracle of light. When you return to the surface, the sun feels warmer, the colors brighter, the air more vibrant. Grutas Carmidas doesn't just show you beauty, it recalibrates your sense of awe. Far across the Pacific Ocean, cradled by emerald peaks and the endless sigh of the sea, lies the island of Uapu, a hidden jewel of the Marquesas archipelago in French Polynesia. Towering basalt spires thrust into the sky like the broken teeth of sleeping gods, veiled in wisps of cloud and mystery. The land is an explosion of green, thick with breadfruit trees, hibiscus, and the heavy perfume of tiar flowers carried on salt-sweet breezes. Villages here are clusters of color between the jungle and the shore, where red-roofed houses overlook harbors the color of purest sapphire. To arrive in Uapu is to be folded instantly into a tapestry of story and song. Ancient chants that speak of warriors and voyagers, tattooed skin telling tales older than memory itself. The heartbeat of the island drums in the earth, in the laughter of children racing along beaches strewn with black volcanic sand, in the songs rising from communal gatherings under the open sky. Trails wind upward into the highlands, where moss carpets the stones and the air grows thin and sharp with altitude. From the peaks, the world falls away into endless ocean, a deep and living blue that breathes against the coral reefs ringing the island like a protective spell. The spirit of Uapu is one of fierce pride and tender reverence, a place where the past is not forgotten, but lives vividly in every dance, every carving, every sacred stone hidden along forgotten forest paths. As dusk falls, The basalt spires catch the last dying light, their shadows stretching long across the island as the first stars blink awake. Uapu is not merely an island, it is a living dreamscape, a world unto itself, where the ordinary dissolves and only wonder remains. High in the mist-wrapped folds of Fujian's hills, where bamboo forests sway like the tides of a sleeping sea, you'll find strange, otherworldly circles dotting the landscape, earthen strongholds called Tulu. At first, they seem like ancient UFOs that have gently landed among the trees, their symmetry so precise, their presence so improbable. These massive round structures were built by the Hakka people centuries ago, as fortresses to protect generations of families from war and wilderness. Constructed entirely from rammed earth, stone, and timber, a single Tulu can house up to 800 people, an entire self-contained village, spiraling inward around a central courtyard, like the memory of a heartbeat. From the outside, a Tulu is formidable, thick earthen walls rising 4 or 5 stories high, windowless for defense, stoic against storm and time. But step through the wooden doors and a different world opens. Communal, warm, alive with clatter and conversation. Children chase each other along wooden balconies. Lanterns sway beneath tiled eaves. The scent of cooking wafts from open kitchens, mingling with incense curling from ancestral altars. Every Tulu has a soul. Some feel solemn and quiet, with moss-covered beams and creaking floorboards that remember every footstep. Others buzz with life, their inner rings crowded with drying herbs, red paper charms, and the laughter of grandparents telling the same stories to each new generation. These structures are living palimpsests, layers of architecture, spirit, and survival fused into circular harmony. They are not ruins. They are thriving homes, still alive with the rhythm of rural life. To walk into a Tulu is to step into the echo of centuries, where the world is both bigger and smaller all at once. It's a sanctuary not just of walls and roofs, but of lineage, language, and lives interwoven like the rings of a tree. Cross now to the raw northern edge of Portugal, where mist dances through emerald ravines and stone staircases disappear into cloud. Peneda Gerês National Park. It is the country's only national park, and yet few beyond the Iberian Peninsula have heard of it. That's part of the spell. This is not a manicured landscape. This is wilderness with history. Wolves still roam the higher ridges. Ancient shepherds' trails lead through shadowy forests, where oaks twist and lean like elders whispering to one another. Waterfalls pour from granite cliffs into crystalline pools so perfect, they look painted. The air tastes like moss and old rain. Every path feels like it's been walked for 1,000 years. Scattered through the park are stone villages that seem untouched by time. Soajo is one of them, a collection of slate-roofed houses cradled in a bowl of green, where cows still return home unchaperoned, and granite grain stores called espigueiros stand like sentinels on stilts. You eat caldo verde in family kitchens, hear folk songs sung in dialects few outsiders understand, and fall asleep to the sound of wind moving through pine. But it's the water that leaves the deepest mark. The pools of Poço Azul, fed by mountain springs, shimmer in hues that seem unreal, sapphire and emerald, pure and cold. You step in and lose your breath, not from fear, but from awe. Every stone beneath your feet is smooth as bone. Every ripple carries the memory of mountains. Here, the wilderness is not to be conquered. It is to be followed. And when you do, it rewards you with beauty that feels both eternal and immediate. like stepping into a dream your ancestors once had. Where the jungles of Central America brush against the mountains of Guatemala lies an ancient wonder hidden in the canopy, cinematography. A natural limestone bridge spans the Cahabon River, and atop it, a chain of turquoise pools descends like a staircase sculpted by gods. From the forest floor, the water glows with an otherworldly light, too blue to seem real, as it slips quietly over polished stone. Surrounding it, the rainforest seethes with life, howler monkeys groaning in the treetops, hummingbirds darting through shafts of light, and butterflies with wings like stained glass. To reach cinematography, you pass through winding mountain roads barely wide enough for one vehicle, through villages where Quechua Maya still speak their ancient tongue and sell handmade chocolate by the roadside. The limestone beneath the pools hides a roaring torrent that vanishes underground, carving caverns filled with echo and shadow. Some travelers explore them by candlelight, swimming through subterranean rivers, their flickering flames illuminating glistening rock formations. Above, the pools remain calm, serene, sacred, untouched. There's something transcendent about floating in those crystalline waters as mist gathers on the forest edge and parrots call from unseen perches. You forget time. You forget borders. You remember only that places like this still exist, sheltered from the noise of the world, waiting for those quiet enough to hear them. In the heart of Chiapas, where the jungle breathes heavy and green, the Rio La Venta carves its way through a forgotten corridor of stone and shadow. This is Canyon Rio La Venta, a canyon so secluded it feels conjured by myth rather than mapped by man. Towering limestone cliffs rise on either side, cloaked in ferns and vines that drip from their edges like the hair of sleeping giants. The river snakes silently below, its water tinted jade by the minerals of the earth, reflecting the canopy above like a shattered emerald mirror. Exploring the canyon is not simple. It requires a journey by kayak or raft, slipping into the narrow veins of the earth itself. As you paddle, the world closes in, not threateningly, but protectively, as though nature is cupping you in its hands. Waterfalls descend from impossible heights, some so fine they drift like silk in the breeze, others crashing into hidden pools with the force of thunder. Caves yawn in the rock walls, some harboring ancient secrets, others merely echoing the sound of dripping time. At certain bends, the canyon opens slightly to reveal golden beaches no wider than a whisper, patches of sand where explorers set up camp beneath a web of stars. The only light comes from flickering fire and phosphorescent insects dancing in the humid dark. In the stillness, it becomes clear. This is not a place made for the casual tourist. It is a sacred corridor shaped by tectonics and time, where solitude takes the shape of a river and the spirit finds room to stretch. Carved into the blue heart of the South China Sea, where waves shimmer like polished jade and limestone islands rise like the backs of sleeping dragons, lies a reef as rare as it is radiant, the Xuande archipelago of the Paracel Islands. Few have walked its shores, fewer still have plunged beneath its surface, but those who do describe it as swimming through a dream stitched together by coral and sunlight. The waters here are impossibly clear, so transparent that the seafloor appears to float just beneath your fingertips. Coral reefs fan outward like lace, teeming with life in every shape and color. Electric blues pulse through schools of tangs. Gliding rays ripple across sandy bottoms like shadows in motion. And among the coral bloom iridescent clams and the cautious flickers of clownfish. Above the water, The islands themselves are wild and nearly untouched, scrubby with mangroves, ringed by glimmering beaches, home to seabirds that wheel and call in the blinding sun. Ancient shipwrecks sleep beneath the waves, their skeletons half consumed by coral, their secrets cradled in the silence of the deep. This archipelago is protected, disputed, remote. Its isolation has kept it pristine, a pocket of oceanic magic frozen in its own mythos. There are whispers of lost pirate treasure here, and sightings of bioluminescent algae that turn the waves into starlight each night. But it is the reef that entrances. There's no sound but the tickle of your own breath in the water. No edge to the color, no ending to the patterns. Here, nature paints not in broad strokes, but in intimate detail. In the flicker of a sea cucumber, in the blink of a watchful octopus, in the soft sway of underwater anemones that seem to dance just for you. It is a place you cannot photograph, only experience. And even then, it will feel like a memory borrowed from another world. Now lift off to a different rhythm, to the rolling waves of Ireland's west coast, but not to the cliffs you know, not to Moher or Dingle. Instead, find Inishmore, the largest of the Aran Islands, where windswept stone meets sacred stillness. Inishmore is a place of walls, dry stone walls that stretch across the island like lines of poetry carved into the land, dividing nothing, enclosing only air and memory. There are no trees, only stone and grass and sky. The Atlantic crashes against sheer cliffs with such force it makes the earth tremble. And yet, above it all, silence reigns. You arrive by ferry. The sea is often rough, and it's said that Inishmore tests who is meant to see it. But when the island reveals itself, low, green, weathered, it calls you in completely. Bicycles are the main form of travel. You ride along coastal lanes, past grazing donkeys and whitewashed cottages. The wind smells like salt and something older. Turf smoke, maybe, or time itself. You climb to Dún Aungasa, a prehistoric stone fort perched on the edge of a 100-meter cliff. There are no railings, no warnings, only sky above and the infinite drop below. You lie on your belly and look over the edge, and the ocean stares back, endless, dark, alive. The spray rises in plumes that soak your face, and in that moment, you understand why ancient peoples chose this place to build their last stand. It is raw, exposed, indomitable. In the evening, the island quiets to a murmur. The pubs glow warm, filled with fiddle music and the low clink of glasses. Locals speak in Irish, not for show, but because it's still alive here. A living tongue, a living land. And when you walk back under a sky so full of stars, it feels heavy. The wind tugs at your coat like it's trying to tell you one more story. Tucked away in the verdant folds of Japan's Kii Peninsula lies a place where legend still lingers in the moss and fog. Nachi no Taki, a waterfall so gracefully veiled by forest, it feels conjured. Most travelers flock to Kyoto or Tokyo, but those who wander further find a path once walked by emperors and monks, the Kumano-Kodo pilgrimage route. Through cedar forests older than memory, across time-worn stone steps slick with dew, the path finally reveals a vision so perfect it feels painted. A 133-meter ribbon of water, cascading from the heavens beside the blood-red, 3-storied Sagantoji pagoda. The air hums with spiritual charge. The scent of wet wood and incense fills your lungs. The roar of the waterfall is steady but soft, more lullaby than thunder. This is not nature in chaos. It is nature in prayer. For over 1,000 years, pilgrims have bathed in these waters and bowed at this spot, believing the cascade to be the earthly embodiment of purity. Even now, the temple bell echoes across the valley, and paper wishes tied to trees flutter like silent songs. You don't just visit Nachi no Taki, you bow to it. You linger in its presence as you would in a shrine. And when you leave, you carry something more than memory. You carry stillness. Deep within the folds of Malaysia's Titiwangsa Mountains, where mist snakes through emerald canopies and rivers carve secret paths through dense jungle, lies the Cameron Highlands, an otherworldly tapestry of rolling tea plantations and ancient mossy forests. Here, the hills ripple in perfect symmetry, cloaked in seas of green that shimmer under the shifting moods of the sky. Narrow paths wind through endless rows of tea bushes, the scent of fresh leaves sweetening the air, while workers with nimble hands pluck the finest tips under a gauze of morning mist. Venture further, and the cultivated beauty gives way to untamed magic. The mossy forest looms like something conjured from an ancient legend, a primeval world where gnarled trees twist in silent agony, their limbs heavy with dripping moss and orchids that bloom like secret stars. The ground, soft and springy underfoot, exhales the sweet, damp breath of the earth, and every step feels like a journey deeper into an older, wilder version of the world. Wisps of cloud thread between the trees, blurring the lines between land and sky, between waking and dreaming. Tiny streams trickle over stones worn smooth by centuries of hidden flow, and the silence here hums with unseen life, an orchestra of insects, the distant call of unseen birds, the soft plash of unseen frogs in hidden pools. As twilight folds over the highlands, the hills blush under the soft hand of the setting sun, and the world seems to hold its breath. In the Cameron Highlands, nature writes its poetry in shades of green and gold, and every leaf, every stone, every shifting shadow invites you to linger just a little longer, suspended in a quiet miracle that feels untouched by time. In the tropical hills of Nayarit, above the surf-swept shores and fishing villages, the forest parts to reveal an unexpected sanctuary, the crater lake of Santa Maria del Oro. Formed by a long-extinct volcano, the lake is perfectly round, deep beyond measure, and mirrors the surrounding ridges with impossible clarity. The air here smells of pine and citrus, and the wind carries the scent of cool water and sun-warmed stone. The lake is sacred to the Wixárika people, who speak of it as a doorway, a mirror between worlds. As dawn breaks, mist rolls across the lake in languid swirls, and the surface reflects the sky so flawlessly it becomes hard to tell where water ends and air begins. Fishermen paddle silently in wooden boats, casting lines without splash. The stillness here has a gravity, drawing your thoughts inward, quieting the noise you didn't realize you carried. Swimming in the lake is like floating through a dream, soft, buoyant, and strangely grounding. Around the rim, small restaurants and adobe cabins nestle among flowering jacarandas. Hummingbirds dart between blossoms, and the call of unseen birds echoes through the hills. At night, the lake glows faintly under the moonlight, holding the stars in its depths like a bowl of black glass. Campfires flicker along the shore and conversations grow hushed, as if the lake itself is listening. Santa Maria del Oro doesn't clamor for attention. It invites it, slowly, tenderly, until you find you've left behind more than just your shoes at the water's edge. You've shed a layer of yourself. High above the verdant sprawl of Sichuan's mountain jungles, where morning fog clings like ancient silk and the air is rich with the scent of pine and mystery. There exists a village suspended in time and stone. Wawu Mountains hanging coffins. You arrive not by car or train, but by a winding path that narrows until it feels as if you're walking the seam between the known and the forgotten. Here, in this hidden realm where cliffs rise like the flanks of sleeping titans, an ancient ritual lingers in gravity-defying silence. The hanging coffins, dark wooden boxes affixed to vertical rock faces hundreds of meters above the forest floor, are remnants of the Bow people, a vanished culture whose rites remain shrouded in enigma. How they placed these coffins so high, balanced on stone outcroppings and wooden beams hammered into sheer cliffside, is a mystery that eludes even modern climbers. But their purpose, that's poetry. To elevate the dead above the earth, to send their souls closer to the heavens. The coffins themselves are worn with age but resolute, silhouetted against skies that blush pink and gold at dusk. Below, the forest stirs with unseen life, the distant call of a macaque, the rustle of wind through bamboo, the hush of a stream carving secrets into the moss. You stand at the base of the cliff, neck craned, and feel as though you're staring not at burial, but ascension. There is reverence in the air, thick as incense. The path winds through scattered shrines, each one a whisper from the past, inviting you to sit, to listen, to wonder. Not merely about the dead, but about the living who carried their ancestors here. Up jagged trails, along dizzying ledges, through ritual and firelight. The forest holds its breath around you, as if the trees themselves remember. And maybe they do. And then there is Cappadocia. But not the usual balloon-filled dawns, not Joramme or the fairy chimneys that flood postcards. No, deeper in this Turkish dreamscape lies the forgotten valley of Ihlara, a volcanic gorge carved by fire and softened by centuries of river song. It stretches for nearly 15 kilometers, a deep green wound in the beige skin of the plateau, its cliffs towering on both sides like storybooks cracked open. You walk through it beneath the shade of fig and walnut trees, with the sound of the Melandiz River dancing over stones at your side. Above, the cliffs are riddled with carved-out chapels, some barely visible until you get close, their entrances disguised by ivy and silence. Inside, frescoes bloom on the walls, still vibrant after 1,000 years, saints and angels painted in colors that defy time. The air smells of dust, water, and ancient faith. Birds nest in forgotten altars, and every so often, you glimpse a monk's staircase, impossibly narrow, carved straight into the vertical stone. These were sanctuaries, places of prayer for those seeking solitude. Now they belong to the earth again, sacred, silent, still. At Belisirma, a tiny village along the trail, locals serve gözlemi and tea on riverside platforms that float gently above the current. You eat with your shoes off, your feet brushing the water, your eyes staring up at canyon walls that seem to hum with memory. The valley doesn't scream its beauty. It whispers, and if you listen long enough, it begins to sing. In the mountains of northern Vietnam, hidden among emerald rice terraces and cloaked in mist, the village of Pu Luong waits like a secret kept by the clouds. A place so peaceful that the rush of water over bamboo aqueducts and the rustling of palm leaves form the soundtrack of your journey. The air smells of lemongrass and earth, thick with the moisture of the mountains. Every turn in the trail reveals a new miracle, a hand-carved stilt house suspended above jungle valleys, or a sudden opening where golden fields stretch like a sea into the fading sun. Here, the Thai and Muong ethnic groups live with the land, not against it. They plant rice by hand and weave cloth with stories. Children chase chickens through terraced fields, and elders smoke pipes on porches overlooking the valley. There's a rhythm to Pu Luong, an unseen pulse that moves through the trees and into your bones. It's not just beautiful, it's alive. At sunrise, the valley glows. Mist clings to every hill like a blanket, and the light spills in through the canopy like warm milk. By noon, the sky is endless blue, and the waterfalls thunder like applause from the mountains themselves. In the evening, fireflies gather like scattered stars, and the scent of jasmine carries on the breeze. Pu Luong is not a place you find on a map. It's a feeling, an awakening, a reminder that wonder doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just whispers. In a forgotten corner of Japan's Honshu Island, nestled deep within the mountains of Toyama Prefecture, lies Gokayama, a village caught between the realms of history and fairy tale. The thatched roof houses here, known as Gasho Zukuri, rise like solemn monks in prayer. Their steep, triangular roofs clasped in eternal supplication to the sky. Each structure is a living testament to endurance, weathering the weight of ferocious winter snows that bury the landscape in silence and white mystery. In spring, the melt reveals a hidden world. Gardens reawaken, rivers swell into glassy mirrors, and cherry blossoms drift like pink snow through the valley's crisp air. Wandering the narrow paths between the homes feels like walking through a memory older than any living thing. The scent of wood smoke curling through the air, the whisper of sandals against stone. Time folds strangely here. An afternoon can feel like a lifetime or a heartbeat. Lanterns flicker to life at twilight, their glow warm and flickering against the vast coolness of the mountain night. In the deeper folds of the valley, hidden shrines nestle among ancient cedar groves, their red torii gates bright against the deep green, weathered by centuries of reverent hands. The river hums with quiet persistence, threading its way past water wheels that once ground rice under the patient labor of the village. The spirit of Gokayama is not shouted. It is sung in hushed tones, written in the rough grain of timber, the cool mist rising from the fields, the soft laughter of children chasing fireflies in the dark. To walk through Gokayama is to step inside a living story, written in the language of mountain, water, and sky. Where the desert meets the sea in the Baja California peninsula, a hidden oasis blooms from the scorched earth, defying logic and gravity alike. This is the Canyon of Guadalupe, a secluded realm of granite domes and cascading waterfalls, tucked into the Sierra de Juarez. Accessible only by off-road trek through otherworldly desert terrain, the journey itself feels like a rite of passage, a transformation of dust into wonder. And then, as if summoned by longing, it appears. A palm-fringed canyon where water gurgles from the rocks and steam rises from natural hot springs that have bubbled here for millennia. The air smells of minerals and wild fig trees, and the only sound is the rush of water as it spills over stone into crystalline pools. Ancient petroglyphs are etched into the canyon walls, left behind by the Kumeyaay people who once made this place their sanctuary. Each symbol tells a story older than any map, carved not for tourists but for the sky itself. Bathing in these geothermal springs as the sun melts into the mountains is a kind of resurrection. The water soothes more than skin. It erases noise, rewinds time, reminds you what silence sounds like. Campers pitch their tents beneath towering palms, surrounded by boulders the size of houses. The night here is velvet dark, pierced by stars so sharp and numerous they seem to vibrate with life. Coyotes yip in the distance, and the wind moves like a whisper through the canyons. In the morning, the first light paints the rocks in ochre and gold, and steam curls off the pools like breath from a sleeping giant. It is a place that doesn't ask for your attention. It claims it, gently and irrevocably, until you realize that what you've found here is not a destination, but a return. Now shift your gaze to the Pacific Northwest, to a place where the earth is still writing itself in ash and steam. Not in the famous volcanic peaks, but in a forgotten corner of Northern California. The Lassen Volcanic Wilderness, a raw, cinematic canvas of bubbling earth, cobalt lakes, and ridgelines stitched in silence. It's a place that feels like it shouldn't exist. So many landscapes packed into one. Alpine forests, smoking fumaroles, crystal-clear lakes, and ancient lava beds all colliding in perfect contrast. There is something primal in the air here, like the ground remembers its own making. Bumpass Hell is its heart, a geothermal basin where the earth breathes visibly. Steam hisses from vents in the ground. Pools boil in colors that should not exist in nature. Teal, sulfur yellow, ghostly white. The wooden boardwalk winds like a question mark through it all, each step accompanied by the distant gurgle of boiling mud. It's a place of contradiction, violently alive, and yet deeply still. Climb higher, and the landscape shifts again. Lassen Peak looms above the world, dusted with snow even in summer. The views stretch to eternity. Forests like spilled ink, mountains like frozen waves, and at Lake Helen, the reflection of sky and mountain ripples in perfect rhythm with the breeze, as if nature itself were breathing in time with you. There are no billboards, no buzz, just wonder, dressed in silence. On the far edge of the Azores archipelago, in the shadow of the Atlantic's endless swell, the island of Flores emerges like a forgotten Eden. Here, cliffs fall away into sapphire depths. Waterfalls spill from sky to sea in impossible plunges, and crater lakes shimmer like the eyes of ancient gods gazing skyward. Flores is green in a way the word cannot contain, lush, feral, eternal. There are no mega resorts here, no sprawling developments, just quiet villages clinging to the hillsides, their red-tiled roofs barely interrupting the waves of wild hydrangeas. Cobbled streets curve like veins through the island, connecting pastures to ports, forests to fields. Cows graze freely. The sea crashes endlessly. Time slows, then forgets to move at all. Drive inland, and the terrain changes with every bend. Dense forests give way to mossy plateaus, and volcanic craters cradle lakes so still they reflect not just the clouds, but your very soul. At Poço da Ribeira do Ferreiro, dozens of waterfalls stream down a jungle-clad cliff in perfect symmetry, feeding a pond so serene it seems carved from a dream. To walk the trails of Flores is to surrender to the earth's wildest beauty. You don't need a guide. You don't need a plan. You just need to follow the sound of water, and it will lead you home. Hidden away in the remote valleys of the Republic of Georgia, where the Caucasus Mountains loom like vast white sentinels, Omalo emerges from the mist like a secret long kept by the earth. The stone towers of the village, ancient and defiant, stand guard against the winds that sweep through the crags, silent witnesses to centuries of battles, births, and the slow turning of seasons. Omalo feels carved from myth itself, its rough stone paths winding through wildflower meadows and dense pine forests that smell of resin and rain. Herds of sheep move like living clouds across the steep slopes, their bells a chorus that rises and falls with the shifting wind. To reach Omalo, one must brave the vertiginous Abano Pass, a road of raw earth and trembling cliffs, where waterfalls cascade like silver threads down sheer faces and the mountains press close like breathing giants. Each turn of the journey strips away the noise of the world until only the essential remains. The rush of the river, the cry of an eagle, the taste of cold, clean air. Villagers greet you with the deep hospitality of a people who understand the rarity of shared moments in such an unforgiving land. Their smiles worn as comfortably as the woolen cloaks draped over their shoulders. At night, the sky over Omalo erupts in stars so sharp and numerous that it feels as if the mountains themselves are weeping silver. Shadows stretch long across the land as the moon rises, casting the ancient towers in a light that blurs the edges of past and present. Here, every stone underfoot, every gust of wind through the juniper, is steeped in a fierce, rugged beauty that refuses to be tamed. Omalo is not simply seen, it is endured, embraced, and remembered in the marrow of your bones. Hidden among the ridges of Shanxi, draped in the dusty colors of legend, lies a fortress forgotten by time, etched into cliffs that look out over valleys steeped in silence. This is Guoliangjai, China's secret troglodyte village, not carved into rock like mere homes, but sculpted as a stronghold, a living monument to endurance. From afar, it appears as nothing more than the mountain's own bones. But come closer, and you see doorways cut into the cliffside, windows looking out over vertical drops, staircases zigzagging like spiderwebs between vertical walls. The entire village clings to the mountain like ivy grown into the stone. There are no streets here, only ledges. Narrow paths that twist through shadow and sunlight, barely wide enough for a man's shoulders. Chickens roost in crevices, rain barrels perch on ledges, and behind every doorway, the cave breathes with warmth, the smell of tea and firewood and earth. The people who remain here are few, mostly elders, guardians of stories spoken in hushed tones around bowls of millet porridge. They speak of wars long past, of rebels and hermits who vanished into the cliffs, of centuries of solitude preserved through skill, silence, and sheer will. There are no tour buses here, no gift shops or ticket booths, only wind and echoes, and the astonishing resilience of a people who shaped their world with nothing but stone and patience. And when the sun sets behind the cliffs, painting the valley in ochre and amethyst, the whole village vanishes into silhouette, becoming part of the mountain once more, hidden, silent, eternal. High in the misty Sierra Norte mountains of Oaxaca, the village of Cuajimoloyas perches like a secret whispered among the pines. The air here is thinner, perfumed with sap and wood smoke, and silence is broken only by the rustling of pine needles and the distant clatter of horse hooves. It is a place untouched by the pulse of modern life, where time moves with the rhythm of wind through the forest. The village is part of the Pueblos Mancomunados, a community-run eco-tourism initiative that protects the surrounding cloud forest with a fierce, almost sacred devotion. Here, trails meander through a landscape so ethereal it feels conjured from folklore. Moss drapes from branches like ancient garlands, and wild orchids bloom from the bark of trees as if grown by forgotten spirits. Wooden cabins with smoking chimneys peek out between the hills, their walls warmed by firelight and the scent of tortillas cooking on a comal. Trekking through these highland forests, you may stumble upon a hidden waterfall, a narrow canyon cloaked in vines, or a wooden suspension bridge that sways gently over the void. Every corner of this land offers a new secret, a new reason to believe in magic again. But perhaps what most sets Quagimaloyas apart is its soul. The people here speak Zapotec, share stories passed down through generations, and invite visitors into their rituals, their meals, their way of life. There is no pretense, only the humbling hospitality of those who understand the true value of their land. As night falls and fog rolls down from the hills, you may find yourself huddled by a fire, sipping hot chocolate thickened with cornflour, wrapped in a woolen poncho as the stars flicker like embers in the sky. In Quagimaloyas, you don't just visit a place, you are folded into it as gently and completely as the mist that envelops the trees. In the wind-swept grasslands of Patagonia, tucked beneath the soaring peaks of the Andes, there lies a lake so still, so clear, it seems to hold the sky itself in its hands. But this is not the famous glacial scenes often sought by tourists. This is Laguna Capri, a lesser-known wonder near El Chaltén, Argentina, a place where solitude and silence reign like royalty. Reaching it is a hike through forest and rock, the trail winding like a thread between lenga trees and alpine flowers. The air is thin but sweet, filled with the breath of mountain herbs and the occasional cry of a condor tracing invisible currents far overhead. And then, like the opening of a curtain, the lake appears, a mirror of silver and glass tucked within a natural amphitheater. Here, Mount Fitzroy rises in the distance like a jagged crown, its snow-capped spires catching fire in the first rays of sunrise. The reflection is flawless, a perfect twin, and in that stillness, you feel it. Time pausing, the world holding its breath. You sit by the shore, you take off your boots, the icy water kisses your toes, grounding you in the moment. No shops, no crowds, just rock, sky, water, and the hush of eternity. Laguna Capri is not grand in size, but in spirit, it is colossal. In the heart of Washington State's Cascade Mountains, concealed behind jagged ridgelines and demanding trails, lies a realm carved from ice, wind, and myth, the enchantments. This alpine sanctuary is not stumbled upon. It must be earned. The hike that leads to it is grueling, a gauntlet of switchbacks and stone, testing the resolve of every adventurer. But for those who push through, the reward is nothing short of transcendent. At the crest of Asgard Pass, breathless and dizzy with altitude, the world opens in spectacular silence. Jagged granite peaks tear at the sky like frozen fire, and a necklace of turquoise lakes glitters across the valley below. They are so pristine they seem unreal, each one fringed with snowfields even in summer, their waters holding the blue of forgotten dreams. Larches, golden and defiant, stand like sentinels across meadows brushed with wildflowers. The light here is different, sharper, cleaner, as though the sky has peeled back a layer to show you something older than time. At night, the wind slips over the ridges like a sigh, and stars multiply into thousands, mirrored perfectly in the still lakes. Mountain goats descend the slopes without a sound, and in those quiet hours, you realize this place is not just beautiful, it's sacred. The enchantments do not offer comfort, they offer revelation, and in their silence, you'll hear something forgotten in the modern world: awe. In the depths of the Central Asian steppe, far from highways and cities, lies a shimmering illusion born of wind and silence. Lake Kindy in Kazakhstan. But this is not a lake in the traditional sense. This is something stranger, a sunken forest, a phantom wood that rises from turquoise water, bare trunks piercing the surface like spears frozen mid-battle. Formed by a limestone landslide after an earthquake in 1911, Lake Kandy is a secret the Earth kept quiet for over a century. The forest that once stood tall now lives underwater, its ghostly spruce trees preserved by the lake's icy chill. Their branches still visible beneath the surface when the light hits just right. Above, only the trunks remain, pale, skeletal forms standing in perfect rows like mourners in prayer. The hike to the lake is its own rite of passage. You cross rolling meadows, where wild horses graze under the watch of distant peaks, and ascend through alpine forests humming with birdsong. Then, without warning, the land opens and the lake appears, blue as sapphire and still as glass, holding the memory of trees and time. The water is impossibly clear. Divers who descend into its depths find themselves drifting among the submerged forest, gliding past trees whose roots still clutch the drowned soil. It is a dive through dimensions, land, air, water, and time all colliding in a quiet, sacred ballet. Above water, the wind moves through the valley, rustling leaves that no longer exist, and you stand at the edge of the lake, heart slowed, breath hushed, knowing you've found something that looks like a place but feels like a spell. On the windswept plains of Mongolia, where the sky stretches in every direction and the land rolls like waves frozen in stone, there lies a cavern few have ever seen. Ikhnartin Chulu, more commonly called Ikhnart, is a granite outcrop in the middle of the Gobi Steppe. It is a place where the horizon bleeds into sky and silence becomes a tangible force. But hidden within its folds are labyrinthine rock formations and canyons so narrow and deep they vanish into shadow even under the midday sun. Here, wild Argali sheep leap across boulders like ancient spirits, and bearded vultures spiral overhead in solemn circles. The air smells of lichen and dust, and the rocks themselves seem to hum with age. Petroglyphs, etched by Bronze Age hands, dot the granite walls, their meanings lost, but their presence undeniable. At dusk, golden light catches on the stone, setting it ablaze in hues of fire and copper, while the wind carries the scent of distant rain. There are no roads here, no signs, just the guidance of nomadic herders, their yurts barely visible in the vastness. They speak of hidden springs and sacred stones, of places where the earth listens. Ikhnart is one of them. To walk here is to step back into the raw breath of the world, where history and myth blend into something deeper than either. It is solitude redefined, vastness embodied. Along the Pacific coast, beyond the fame of Puerto Escondido and the glitter of Huatulco, lies a quiet crescent of paradise known only to those who seek it. Playa Mermellita. It is a beach of wild elegance framed by cliffs and jungle, where black volcanic sand glistens under the sun and the ocean roars with ancient voice. This is no place for umbrellas or beach clubs. It is primal, untouched, sacred, a place where the rhythm of the waves is a language, and each tide pulls your soul a little farther from the world you knew. The beach stretches long and wide, and the only footprints you'll see are your own, or those of turtles returning to the sea after nesting beneath the stars. Pelicans glide inches above the breakers, and crabs scuttle through the shadows like secrets. On the edge of the cliffs, a hidden stone staircase leads to a viewpoint known only to locals, El Mirador del Jaguar. At sunset, the sky explodes in hues of fire and coral, and the wind carries the scent of salt and distant blooms. From this perch, you don't just witness beauty, you absorb it, Nights at Mermagita are painted with celestial ink. Without streetlights or traffic, the beach becomes a sanctuary of stars. Fires flicker beside makeshift tents, and the only soundtrack is the crash of waves and the soft murmur of stories shared beneath wool blankets. There's no reception here, no distractions, just the raw, thunderous pulse of the earth. For those who make the journey, Playa Mermagita doesn't offer escape. It offers remembrance of what it means to be small, of what it feels like to be free. On the far southern coast of Crete, hidden between towering cliffs and forgotten by most who only skim the island's tourist-worn edges, the village of Lutro sits like a lost sapphire cradled by the Libyan Sea. There are no roads that reach this place, only the open sea or rugged footpaths carved into the mountains. From the water, it appears like a vision, whitewashed buildings clinging to the rocks, their blue shutters flickering against the blinding sunlight, a place untouched by the corrosion of time. Boats bob lazily in the crystalline harbor, so clear that it seems they are floating in mid-air, suspended above rippling shadows on the sandy seabed. The scent of grilled octopus and wild thyme drifts on the breeze, carried from tavernas where locals speak in soft, lilting tones, their conversations stitched with the rhythm of the waves. Narrow alleyways wander upward into olive groves and rocky trails leading to hidden beaches, secret coves where the sea cradles you in a cool, endless embrace. Beneath the shimmering surface, fish flicker in shoals of silver and coral gardens sway with the tide. At dusk, the village seems to sigh and lean into the coming night. The sky deepens into velvet, and the stars gather so thickly above that the universe feels just an arm's reach away. There is a silence here, not of absence, but of fullness. The sound of the earth breathing, the ancient pulse of water against stone. Lutro is not a destination you check off a list. It is a feeling you carry back with you, a place that hums like a secret in your heart, long after your footprints have vanished from its pebbled shore. Deep within the limestone belly of Guangxi, where the land is carved into surreal waves of karst and the rivers snake like calligraphy through jade valleys, a cave pulses with light and sound. Reed Flute Cave, a cathedral beneath the earth. From the outside, it appears unassuming, a rocky slope tucked beside Lee River's gentle bends. But step inside, and the world melts into a fantasy of stone. Stalactites and stalagmites rise like frozen storms, catching the light in crystalline fire. Colored illumination, soft blues, royal purples, celestial greens, sweeps across the formations, casting shadows that dance like spirits across mirrored pools. Every chamber is a universe. In one, a spire arches upward like a lightning bolt caught mid-strike. In another, a silent lake reflects the ceiling with such precision it dissolves the boundary between water and air. The formations have names whispered by generations: Dragon Pagoda, Crystal Palace, Sky Pillar. And though they are shaped by millennia of slow, dripping water, they possess a grandeur more immediate than any palace wrought by man. The silence here is not emptiness. It is depth. Your footsteps echo in quiet reverence, as if the cave itself is listening. You run your fingers along stone that predates history, and somewhere deep in the shadows, a drop falls from above, soft as a breath, steady as time. Legends say ancient poets once stood where you now stand, composing verses by torchlight, humbled by the majesty of nature's secret art. Some say the cave is the lungs of a sleeping dragon, others that it is a gateway between worlds. Either could be true. Standing there, heart slowed to the rhythm of drip and echo, you believe both. Outside, the world turns. But down here, beneath layers of mountain and myth, you are timeless. Tucked away in a hidden corner of the Carpathian Mountains, the Apuseni Natural Park in Romania unspools a world that feels untouched by time. Here, ancient beech and fir forests stretch endlessly, the sunlight filtering through the canopy in shattered golden rays that turn the air to honey. Gentle limestone hills give way to secret valleys and cavernous gorges, where underground rivers whisper their ancient songs beneath the earth. The park is laced with an intricate network of caves, some of the oldest in Europe, mystical worlds of crystal stalactites, frozen waterfalls, and chambers vast enough to swallow the sound of your own breath. Among these is Skarishwara Ice Cave, a colossal underground glacier where blue ice shimmers with ghostly light. Untouched for millennia, a frozen heart beating beneath the mountains. Above ground, the meadows burst into a riot of color every summer, carpets of wildflowers waving like a living sea beneath the ever-changing sky. Villages dot the landscape with houses that seem to grow out of the earth itself, their wooden shingles weathered gray by countless winters, smoke curling lazily from stone chimneys. Shepherds guide their flocks across the hills, the soft bells of the sheep a music older than memory, a gentle pulse that seems to blend seamlessly with the whisper of the wind. The people here live with the land, not against it, their lives braided into the seasons with a grace few modern places still know. At night, the stars flood the sky with a brilliance so pure it feels almost too fragile to gaze upon, the Milky Way stretching from horizon to horizon like a bridge to forgotten realms. In Apuseni, the world slows, exhales, and offers itself back to you, whole and wild and unbroken. In the humid cradle of Guizhou province, shrouded by whispering bamboo and hills that undulate like the backs of sleeping dragons, lies a village born not of wood or stone, but of a waterfall. Genuine ancient town is hidden deep in a valley, cradled between green ridges, where the Wuyang River glides like a ribbon of jade beneath arched bridges and timeless pagodas. Time does not simply pass here, it breathes. As you wander the narrow cobblestone lanes, you'll hear the soft chant of an unseen monk carried on the wind, mingling with the rustle of wind chimes and the splash of fish leaping from jade-green waters. Genuine story is carved into the rock that flanks it, in the cliffside caves of Qinglongdong. Here, shrines and temples emerge from the stone as though grown by the earth itself. Taoist, Buddhist, and Confucian sanctuaries harmoniously coexisting in surreal symmetry. The temples are alive with color and incense. Golden dragons curl around crimson beams, their eyes fixed eternally on the mountains beyond. At dusk, lanterns bloom like fireflies across the water's edge, casting shimmering red and gold into the river that reflects a dreamscape no camera could ever fully capture. Boats glide silently past, their silhouettes framed by bridges that arch like the spines of mythical beasts. But the true magic of Genuine is not in its architecture or its traditions. It is in its spirit. This is a place where locals leave offerings for river spirits and pause to bow at shrines nestled between tea shops. Where the line between folklore and fact is so blurred, even the skeptical might begin to wonder whether the mist rising from the Wuyang is merely vapor or something more ancient, more watching. Here, the air itself feels alive, thick with stories untold. It doesn't ask you to believe, only to listen. And if you do, if you truly stop and listen, you might just hear the village whisper its secrets back. Hidden in the folds of the Sierra Madre del Sur, far beyond the reach of tour buses and hotel lobbies, The town of San Miguel del Puerto exists in a different tempo. Here, life doesn't move with urgency, but flows like a slow stream through the valleys. Quiet, glistening, eternal. The journey to reach this village is no simple feat. Winding roads snake through mist-draped mountains, where cliffs plunge into the dense embrace of tropical forests. But with every turn, the world unspools a little more, revealing glimpses of waterfalls, wild orchids, and birds whose names most have never learned. San Miguel del Puerto is surrounded by an ecological wonder, a network of crystalline rivers, hidden cascades, and deep blue pools so clear they seem otherworldly. One such place, the Cascadas de la Reforma, lies tucked within a forest of towering ceibas and bromeliads. Water rushes down multi-level tiers of rock, forming natural staircases of turquoise and jade. The sound here is not a roar, but a lullaby, the constant hush of water over stone, the rustle of wind through bamboo. Butterflies flicker in the shafts of sunlight, and time dissolves into droplets. Locals, proud guardians of this paradise, guide visitors not as service providers, but as storytellers. They speak of the jaguar that once walked these hills, of spirits that dwell in caves, of herbs that heal and trees that remember. At night, with the stars blazing in the sky like ancestral fire, stories and laughter rise from the hearths of clay homes, drifting into the forest like offerings. San Miguel del Puerto is not merely a place. It is a living poem, softly recited in the language of rivers and rain. Now drift far east to the jungles of Thailand, where a river coils like a serpent through an emerald chasm, and where the Erawan waterfalls descend like a staircase carved for gods. Deep within Erawan National Park in Kanchanaburi Province, this seven-tiered cascade tumbles through the forest with an elegance so surreal it seems imagined. The lower pools shimmer a translucent jade, their surfaces broken only by the dart of fish and the gentle rainfall of falling leaves. The water is cool and sweet, flowing over smooth limestone like silk, forming natural terraces that beg to be stepped into. With every level you ascend, the world becomes quieter, greener, more sacred. Butterflies dance through shafts of sunlight like living brushstrokes. Macaques peer at you from the treetops, curious but indifferent. And the sound, that constant lullaby of falling water, becomes your companion, guiding you deeper into the dream. Some tiers are wide, curtain-like. Others narrow and tucked away, hidden beneath vines and rock overhangs. You climb barefoot, slowly, carefully, letting the earth speak through your soles. And at the seventh tier, after hours of ascent, you reach the crown, a broad, glittering pool beneath a towering veil of water. Here, even your breath quiets, even your thoughts yield. It's not just a waterfall, it's a pilgrimage. Deep in the wilderness of the Philippines' northern Cordilleras lies a marvel few outside the country ever witness. Buscalan, a village carved into the mountain's spine, shrouded in clouds and only reachable by foot. It is home to a legacy written not in ink, but skin. The last of the traditional Kalinga tattoo artists, Wangod, lives here. An elderly woman whose hands still tap out sacred patterns using a thorn, a bamboo stick, and centuries of ancestral memory. To reach Buscalan, one must hike narrow paths clinging to cliff sides, cross bamboo bridges over roaring gorges, and pass rice terraces that cascade like green stairways into the sky. But the journey is part of the spell. Along the way, the landscape breathes with life. Carabaos cooling in the rivers, mountain breezes laced with pine and citrus, the rhythmic chopping of wood echoing through the canyons. In Buscalan, tradition is not preserved, it thrives. Children run barefoot through fog-laced alleys, elders chew betel nut and recount legends of headhunters and mountain spirits. And tattooing is not a novelty, it is a rite of passage, a map of a soul worn proudly. Wangod herself, over 100 years old, is a living monument to a culture that refuses to vanish. Watching her work is like witnessing time flow backward. This is not just a remote village. It is a temple of heritage, a highland story etched into every stone, every smile, and every scar. Tucked into the farthest eastern fingers of Iceland, where few travelers venture and the land itself seems to breathe with a quiet, ancient pulse, lies Borgarfjörður Eystri, a village so small that it seems almost imagined, painted in splashes of color against a vast canvas of green valleys and jagged mountains. The road that leads here twists and sighs through dreamlike landscapes, each turn revealing fjords brushed by low clouds and hills stitched with the violet embroidery of wild lupines. It feels like crossing into another realm, a forgotten world where the rules of time have slipped away. Borgarfjörður Eystri is not grand in scale, but grand in spirit. The cliffs near Hafnarholmi teem with puffins, their comical, bright-beaked faces peeking from burrows and flying in wild, joyful swoops over the restless sea. The mountains that rise around the village, Dyrfjöll and beyond, wear cloaks of mist and legend, said to shelter the hidden people, the Huldufolk, who move unseen among the stones. Hiking trails unfurl like secret paths into untouched valleys, where waterfalls whisper among moss-covered rocks and silence wraps around you like a warm, living thing. The evening light here stretches into near eternity during summer, a soft luminescence that bathes everything in a surreal, golden tranquility. And in winter, the auroras waltz and weave across the ink-black sky, shimmering in hues of emerald and violet, as if the heavens themselves are dancing in secret celebration. Borgarfjörður Eystri is not just a place to visit. It is a place to disappear, to dissolve into wonder, to remember how vast and tender the world can be when it has been left wild and free. Mist clings to the jagged cliffs like a whispered secret, and the air trembles with the hush of ancient water carving its legacy through stone. This is the Yarlung Tsangpo Grand Canyon, a place so vast, so inaccessible, it seems etched into the very bones of a forgotten earth. Winding through southeastern Tibet, this is not just the deepest canyon on the planet. It is one of the least seen, veiled by the wildest frontiers of geography and myth alike. Above, Namcha Barwa pierces the heavens, a dagger of ice slicing into clouds that drift like spirits over the chasm. Below, the river rages. The Yarlung Tsangpo River is no gentle stream, but a thunderous cascade of turquoise fury, winding through mountain walls draped in velvet moss and silver waterfalls. The scale is colossal, deeper than the Grand Canyon, cloaked in near impenetrable jungle and wreathed in perpetual mist. Each twist of the river reveals landscapes so remote they seem alien. Forests burst from sheer rock faces, their leaves glistening with the breath of cloud. Parrots and snow leopards inhabit the same mysterious ecosystem, as if some divine hand accidentally blended tropic and tundra. Monks who have lived in silence for years speak of the canyon as a living being, a sentient force that guards the entry to sacred lands few outsiders will ever behold. There is a silence here that humbles, not the absence of sound, but a presence, an ancient, humming resonance that seems to rise from the stone itself. Footsteps echo differently, carrying into the thick air like offerings, You do not visit the Yarlung Tsangpo. You arrive, and it decides whether you are allowed to stay. Deep within this gorge, there are places where no satellite has mapped, where no drone has flown. Villages built into cliff faces like secrets, where time moves not in hours, but in seasons. You may hear laughter echoing across the ravine, but you'll see no one. You may follow a path only to find it ends not with a road, but with a staircase chiseled into rock, vanishing into fog. And in that moment, standing on the edge of the abyss, breathing the same thin air that brushes the peaks of forgotten gods, you begin to understand. Some wonders were never meant to be touched, only witnessed and remembered in awe. On the desert plains of Coahuila, where the sun burns hot and the wind speaks in hushed tones, a surreal landscape unfolds like a hallucination. Cuatro Ciénegas. It is a valley of water in a place that should be barren, a series of crystalline pools, alabaster dunes, and strange microbial ecosystems that exist nowhere else on Earth. This oasis defies expectation. Its lagoons shimmer in sapphire and aquamarine, their clarity so absolute they seem to float above the sand. Beneath their surfaces lie some of the planet's oldest life forms, microbialites, living fossils whispering the story of Earth's earliest days. Wading into the pools is an act of reverence. The water is cold, electric, impossibly blue. Fish dart between your legs, and dragonflies flit above the surface like brushstrokes on a canvas. In the distance, red-hued mountains rise like guardians, encircling the valley with a sense of protection. And scattered throughout are gypsum dunes, pure white, soft as flour, catching the sunlight in ripples and waves. There is a strange silence here. Not absence, but presence. A presence so ancient and still, it hushes even the most talkative soul. Scientists come here to study evolution, to peer back through time. Travelers come to feel something they cannot name. Cuatro Ciénegas is not merely beautiful, it is humbling. A place where the earth reveals a piece of its origin story, and where each step feels like it echoes into the bones of the world. And then, far west, in the forgotten depths of the Balkans, there's a valley that seems born from folklore, a place where fairies might still dance, and the river runs clear as myth. This is the Rakitnica Canyon in Bosnia and Herzegovina, a land of cliffs and silence carved by water and war, but somehow still untouched in spirit. The Rakitnica River, a tributary of the Neretva, slices through a dramatic chasm more than 20 kilometers long. Towering cliffs loom over a waterway so clear it reflects the sky in full resolution. It's barely accessible. No casual roads lead here. To reach the heart of the canyon, you hike for hours through pine forests and across rugged terrain, descending into a world that feels entirely secret. But when you arrive, it's like discovering the Earth's hidden pulse. Small waterfalls trickle from moss-covered rocks. Wild goats dart along impossible ledges, and the silence is punctuated only by birdsong, by the sound of water curling around stone, by your own breath catching in your throat. The canyon narrows at points, so much so that you can stretch your arms and almost touch both sides. At others, it opens into sun-drenched meadows or turquoise pools that shimmer with untouched clarity. There are no fences here, no signs, just space. Wild, sacred space. Those who come speak of transformation, not in grand metaphors, but in the stillness that rewires your rhythm, in the rawness that strips away everything except presence. Rakitnica Canyon is not meant for the masses. It's a treasure buried in Balkan soil, waiting for the few who still seek the unbelievable and are willing to listen when they find it. Where the Atlantic crashes with untamed force against the northwestern coast of Ireland, there lies a place cloaked in mist and forgotten by time. The Slieve League cliffs rise nearly 2,000 feet above the roaring sea, taller than the famed cliffs of Moher, but without their crowds, their fences, or their fame. Here, only the wind and your breath keep you company as you stand at the edge of the world. Blanketed in wild grasses and wildflowers, the cliffs undulate toward the horizon, their faces streaked with copper and coal, their bases vanishing into the crashing foam far below. The path along the ridge is narrow and raw, a thread of earth balanced between sky and sea. One misstep, and the abyss awaits. But for those who dare, the view is a baptism in beauty. On clear days, you can see as far as Sligo and the distant Isles of Scotland. On others, the fog swallows the world whole, leaving only the sound of your heartbeat and the cry of gulls wheeling in the gray. This is a land of myth, of selkies and saints, of Celtic gods whispered about in the dark. Local fishermen still bless their boats with age-old rituals, and stone ruins dot the hills like ancient scars. The Slieve League cliffs aren't just Ireland's best-kept secret. They are Ireland at its most primal, where the land meets the spirit in a cathedral of wind and stone. Tucked deep within the Yucatan Peninsula, beyond the well-trodden ruins and crowded cenotes, lies a forgotten city swallowed by the jungle, Ekbalam, the Black Jaguar. Unlike its famous cousin Chichen Itza, this ancient Maya citadel remains uncrowded, almost hidden beneath the dense tangle of chaybas and strangler figs. The air is thick with the scent of orchids and damp stone, and every step echoes with the quiet insistence of history. You don't just walk through Ekbalam, you are absorbed by it. Massive Acropolis walls rise from the forest floor, their carvings remarkably intact, their messages whispered through time. One structure in particular commands reverence, the El Trono, the throne, where a gaping jaguar's mouth frames the tomb of a long-dead king. The figure is both sculpture and portal, inviting you not just into a burial chamber, but into the mythology of a civilization that worshipped the stars and mapped the spirit world. Climb its steps, and you rise above the canopy, above the endless green, until the jungle becomes a sea, and you are its solitary ship, drifting on a tide of leaves. There is a silence here that feels sacred, punctuated only by the call of toucans or the chatter of spider monkeys swinging above. Vines coil like serpents around the limestone, and shafts of light cut through the branches like golden daggers. The energy is not dramatic, but deeply ancestral, as if the stones themselves hum with memory. As you explore, you begin to see the outlines of plazas, temples, and ball courts that once thrummed with life. Ekbalam is a ghost city, yes, but it is not dead. It dreams in green and stone and sky, waiting for those quiet enough to hear its breath. Tucked between the folds of Yunnan's Highland tapestry, where clouds weave through terraces of jade and the wind carries the distant trill of flutes, lies a village where color sings and time hesitates, Dongchuan Redland. This is not a hidden city or an ancient ruin, but a living canvas, nature's most defiant burst of pigment splashed across the earth. At first glance, it almost seems unreal. The soil glows with a burnished crimson hue, the result of iron-rich minerals oxidized by centuries of sun and rain. Winding through the slopes are terraces of green barley, golden buckwheat, and cotton-white potatoes, arranged in fluid waves that rise and fall like brushstrokes. The hills appear to burn with color, reds, greens, golds, purples, each hue shifting with the hour. In the early morning, A whisper of mist curls through the valley, softening the hills into watercolor. At midday, the sun sharpens every ridge and furrow, igniting the reds into flame. And as dusk deepens, the earth blushes in twilight, glowing from within as though lit by memory. Villagers here tend their fields as if composing music. Oxen pull simple plows through scarlet soil. Children chase kites across stepped hillsides. And the elderly sit beneath thatched awnings, sipping tea and watching the sky as if they expect it to tell them something. There's no fanfare, no great monuments, just the raw beauty of land in conversation with light. The landscape shifts so dramatically with season and sun that it never offers the same view twice. It demands that you stop, breathe, and really see. In this kaleidoscope of dirt and harvest, where farmers wake with the mist and sleep beneath galaxies undimmed by city light, you discover something essential. Wonder doesn't need grandeur. Sometimes it's simply a hillside that burns with color, asking nothing more than to be seen. Now shift to a place of water and verdant myth, a corner of the world cradled by moss and mist. In the highlands of Réunion Island, tucked in the Indian Ocean east of Madagascar, lies the Cirque de Mafate, an extinct volcanic caldera so steep, so remote, that no roads touch it. It exists beyond asphalt, beyond urgency. You arrive by foot or helicopter, the only ways in, and as you descend into the bowl-shaped expanse, the world above seems to dissolve behind you. What awaits below is a village of dreams, wooden houses scattered like whispers across grassy clearings, tiny farms with crops climbing in neat rows along the hills, dense forest creeping up ridgelines, waterfalls carving silver threads into the valley's walls. The air smells like damp soil and eucalyptus, the kind of scent that makes you breathe deeper without realizing. Each trail that winds through Mafate feels like it has a soul, trodden for generations, etched into the landscape with footsteps and memory. You pass under fern-covered groves and over rope bridges that sway gently above rushing creeks. Time here has a different texture. Days stretch not in laziness, but in fullness. You wake with the birds. You sleep under stars that pierce the sky like diamonds cracked into velvet. The people of Mafate live in harmony with their surroundings. They bake bread in wood-fired ovens, harvest rainwater, and tell stories over candlelight. It's not a place pretending to be simple. It is simple. And that simplicity is magic. You don't visit Cirque de Mafate. You enter it and leave changed. On the northeast coast of Madagascar, where the rainforest kisses the reef and lemurs leap from tree to tree like echoes of a forgotten age, lies Massowala National Park. It is the island's largest protected area, and yet almost no one outside this hemisphere has ever heard of it. It is raw, wild, glorious. The trees here stretch skyward in a fever of green, their trunks wrapped in vines as thick as ropes. Rain falls in sudden bursts, then vanishes. The forest floor steams, and the call of exotic birds twines with the growl of hidden chameleons and the chatter of unseen primates. Red-ruffed lemurs perch high in the canopy, watching with curious golden eyes. Step beyond the trees, and you find a coast untouched. Coral reefs ripple just offshore in clear waters, home to sea turtles, clownfish, and the occasional passing whale. The beach is not manicured. It's wild, golden, and empty, except for driftwood and the occasional crab retreating into the surf. To explore Massowala is to immerse yourself in a place where Earth still behaves as it did long before humanity carved borders and roads into its skin. You come here not to conquer, but to yield. Not to see, but to witness. Far removed from the chaos of beach resorts and buzzing cities, the high plains of Durango cradle a place as surreal as it is silent. Welcome to Mexiquillo, a hidden wonderland of pine forests, rock gardens, and secret waterfalls, where mist floats low over volcanic formations sculpted by ancient eruptions. The air is crisp and carries the scent of wet bark, moss, and the soft decay of pine needles, a perfume of quiet wilderness. But what truly sets this place apart is its dreamlike geometry. Boulders the size of cabins rest on delicate pedestals, gravity seemingly paused in wonder. Wander through this stone garden, and you feel more like a character in a fantasy novel than a traveler. Arches form gateways into nowhere. Tunnels appear in the underbrush that open onto waterfalls tumbling from cliffs into invisible depths. Trails here are not blazed by signs, but by intuition and curiosity. Locals say Mexiquillo is haunted, not by ghosts, but by a wild, laughing spirit that hides behind trees and flickers in the corner of your eye. It's easy to believe. This place doesn't follow the logic of landscapes. It dances. At twilight, the forest takes on a deeper magic. Fog rolls in so thick it softens every edge, turning trees into silhouettes and stones into sleeping beasts. Campfires glow like watchful eyes in the night, and the sky above is pinpricked with stars rarely seen by those who live under city light. Coyotes cry from far ridges, and the wind makes music of the needles overhead. In Mexiquillo, time doesn't pass, it hovers. Moments stretch into eternity and vanish again, like breath in the cold. In the windswept highlands of Ethiopia, where the land fractures into cliffs and yawning valleys, the village of Lalibela guards one of humanity's greatest, yet least known marvels. Here, 11 medieval churches are carved entirely from living rock, their rose-colored forms hidden below ground like treasures tucked into the earth's embrace. Approaching them, there is no grand facade, only simple openings in the sun-baked plateau that plunge downward into mystery. Descend, and the world above falls away. Narrow tunnels and weathered steps lead to courtyards where the monolithic churches rise, hewn from single stones by hands driven by unfathomable devotion. Bet Georgis, shaped like a perfect cross, stands isolated in a trench, its walls adorned only by the kisses of rain and centuries. The sandstone walls are cool to the touch, whispering of ancient prayers and the slow breath of stone through time. Robed priests drift between shadow and light, their chants resonating in chambers carved with such precision that sound seems to bend and linger, wrapping visitors in layers of reverence. Outside, the air buzzes with the murmurs of distant markets and the cry of goats scaling impossible inclines. The starkness of the surrounding landscape only sharpens the impossible reality of Lalibela, a sacred heartbeat carved into the very bones of the earth, echoing across centuries in soft, endless waves. Here, faith is not merely practiced, it is etched into existence, a permanent testament to humanity's yearning to touch the divine. Veiled beneath a skin of shifting sands and haunting stillness, the Badain Jaran Desert stretches across Inner Mongolia like a golden ocean, forever rippling beneath the breath of the wind. But hidden within its arid embrace lies a miracle no eye expects. A symphony of lakes, over 100 of them, glistening like sapphires in the sun. The lakes of Badain Jaran are impossibilities made real. Nestled between some of the tallest stationary dunes on Earth, rising over 500 meters into the sky, these bodies of water shimmer with mineral hues, ranging from deep cobalt to translucent emerald. No river feeds them, no visible source sustains them. and yet they endure year after year, reflecting the blazing blue of the Mongolian sky like fragments of another world. There is an eerie serenity in this desert. The dunes do not whisper, they sing. When the wind crosses their curved spines just right, the sand releases a low, echoing hum, an almost sacred resonance that local legends say is the voice of the desert itself. It's called the singing sand, and standing beneath a towering dune while it reverberates with sound is like listening to the earth dream. Nomadic herders still traverse this realm on camelback, their silhouettes flickering across the horizon like specters from centuries past. They know the secret oases, the wind's moods, and the paths carved not by compass, but by instinct and stars. Occasionally, they speak of temples sunken beneath the dunes, ancient ruins half swallowed by time, and prayers whispered to the lake spirits under a tapestry of stars. At night, the heavens open wider than imagination. The Milky Way spills across the sky in dizzying detail, unpolluted and unchallenged, mirrored in the glassy surface of a lake that has no name. You sit beside it, wrapped in the silence of a billion grains of sand, and understand why the ancients called this place sacred. Because here, in the middle of nothing, something impossible lives. From Ethiopia's heights, fall now into Iceland's heart, to a place where water moves like thought and color sings like thunder, the Studlagil Canyon, hidden in the remote highlands of East Iceland. It doesn't look real. That's the first thing that strikes you. The canyon walls are vertical pillars of basalt, rising in perfect hexagonal patterns like the organ pipes of a forgotten cathedral. They stretch skyward in rhythmic rows, dark gray and ancient, formed from cooled lava and sculpted by time. Between them flows a river that changes color with the seasons. In summer, when the ice has melted and minerals shift, the water turns a radiant, surreal turquoise. So pure, so impossibly bright, it seems to glow from within. You stare, and it stares back, silent and still and watching. You reach it by hiking through open country, past sheep-dotted hills and whispering grasslands, until suddenly the ground opens, and there it is. A canyon carved not by chaos, but by precision. Climb down carefully, and you'll find yourself dwarfed by stone. The columns rise on either side like sentinels, their textures grooved by millennia of wind and rain. You sit on one. You touch its edge, and it hums faintly, as if the earth still remembers its forging. It's quiet here. No crowds, no guards, no fences. Just geology exposed in its most intimate state, like finding the pulse of the world and listening close. And as the sky shifts from gray to gold, and the wind begins to howl through the gorge, you'll realize the truth. The most unbelievable places on Earth aren't the loudest. They're the ones that whisper. In a narrow gorge cut deep into the limestone mountains of southern Albania lies a secret path carved by a whispering river. It's called the Lengerica Canyon, and if ever there was a hidden paradise tucked beneath the folds of Europe, this is it. Towering cliffs flank the gorge, their faces streaked with mineral hues, ochre, copper, ivory, like brushstrokes on cathedral walls. The river, shallow and crystalline, winds its way through pebbled beds and stone arches, cutting a ribbon of silver through a landscape that feels untouched by time. As you wander along its winding route, the canyon's secrets reveal themselves slowly. Natural thermal springs bubbling at your feet, long-forgotten stone bridges arching over the flow, and secluded pools shaded by olive and fig trees. In spring, the canyon is blanketed with wildflowers. In summer, it hums with dragonflies, and in winter, a frosty hush settles over its curves like a lullaby whispered by the earth itself. Above the canyon rests the village of Benja, its crumbling stone houses and terracotta roofs visible like forgotten memories perched on the hillsides. Time here runs slower, measured not in minutes, but in the rhythm of goats' bells and the rising steam of a wood fire meal. The Lengarika Canyon isn't just a natural marvel. It's a refuge, a sanctuary, a hidden realm where the world softens and the soul expands. At the break of dawn, a veil of mist clings to the emerald canopy of the Huasteca Potosina, concealing one of Mexico's most enigmatic natural wonders. Here, the earth opens into a colossal chasm known as the Sótano de las Golondrinas, a vertical abyss that plunges over 370 meters into the Earth's crust. As the first light pierces the horizon, a symphony of wings erupts from the darkness below. Thousands of white-collared swifts and green parakeets ascend in a vortex, spiraling into the morning sky like a living cyclone. The sound is deafening yet transcendent, an echo of ancient rhythms undisturbed by time. Standing at the edge of this limestone cathedral, the ground drops away so suddenly that your breath catches in your throat. There are no handrails, no warning signs, just the raw, primal truth of nature's architecture. The shaft is so deep that the jungle canopy at its base seems more like a miniature diorama than reality. Sunlight dances across the stone walls, revealing ancient mineral patterns that shimmer like brushstrokes on a forgotten fresco. Some dare to descend by rope into the abyss, a vertical pilgrimage into silence and shadow. But even those who only watch from above will feel forever changed, touched by something elemental. This is not a place for crowds or commerce. It is a cathedral of wind and stone, where gravity itself seems to pause in reverence. Beyond the borders of Namibia's deserts, and beneath a sky so wide it threatens to swallow the horizon, the haunting beauty of the quiver tree forest emerges like a dream. Scattered across rocky plains near Keetmanshoop, the quiver trees stand not in ordered ranks, but in strange, poetic gatherings, each one twisting and reaching toward the heavens in frozen dance. Their bark peels away in golden plates that shimmer under the relentless sun, and their branches, thick and gnarled, bloom with clusters of pale yellow flowers when the seasons permit. Named by the indigenous Sand people, who use the hollowed branches to craft quivers for their arrows, these trees are ancient sentinels, some standing silently for over 200 years. Walking among them feels like wandering through a forest sculpted not by time, but by dream and memory. As dusk descends, the landscape transforms. The sun pours molten gold across the earth, igniting the trees in a brief, fierce blaze of color, before slipping away into the ink of night. Then, the real magic reveals itself. Under the velvet darkness of the Namibian sky, the Milky Way stretches in impossible clarity, a river of stars so dense and brilliant it seems to pull at your very soul. The quiver trees stand silhouetted against this galactic tapestry, their outlines sharp and surreal, creating a scene so breathtaking it feels like you have stepped beyond the edge of the world. Coyotes call to each other across the vastness, their voices echoing across stones worn smooth by ages. Here, the silence is not empty. It is full, resonant, humming with the ancient songs of earth and sky. In the quiver tree forest, you are both infinitesimal and infinite, a fleeting breath in a place where time is carved in stone and starlight. Somewhere in the shadows of the Caucasus Mountains, where Georgia meets Azerbaijan in a quiet meeting of lands and legends, The hilltop town of Signagi floats above the Alazani Valley like a watchtower for forgotten dreams. Time moves differently here. You don't walk through this place. You drift, as if carried by the scent of grapes and the sigh of ancient winds. The cobbled streets wind like ivy between ochre rooftops and pastel balconies, each twist revealing a new vista. A monastery here, a crumbling fortress wall there, and beyond it all, a sea of vineyards undulating toward the snow-dusted ridges in the far distance. This is Kakheti, Georgia's winemaking heartland, where every stone has been stained with wine and memory. In the early hours, mist rolls in from the valley below, wrapping the town in a soft gray hush. You wake to the slow clang of a church bell, the creak of a wooden shutter, the gentle clatter of cups in a family kitchen. And by midday, the sun casts a golden sheen across the clay-tiled roofs, and the valley glows, 1,000 shades of green laced with river light. You'll find yourself invited in for wine, for bread, for laughter. The wine is homemade, the bread still warm, the laughter deep and generous. They don't offer it like a gift. They offer it like a duty, as if sharing joy is part of the land's unspoken law. And standing at the edge of the city wall, where swallows dive through the sky and silence hangs like music in the air, you realize Signagi isn't a town. It's a heartbeat, slow, steady, and utterly unforgettable. High above the clouds, where Peru's Andes stretch toward the sky in jagged majesty, the forgotten citadel of Choquequirao sleeps in solitude. Often called the sister of Machu Picchu, it is its quieter, more elusive twin, just as powerful, but shielded by days of hiking, sheer cliffs, and an unforgiving sun. Few make the journey. Fewer still stand in its shadow. But those who do are forever changed. The stone terraces spill down the mountainside like amphitheaters built for gods. Llamas graze between them, oblivious to the awe they stir. Mist clings to the ramparts in the morning, lifting slowly to reveal a complex more vast than Machu Picchu, but untouched by tourism. No crowds, no noise. Just the sound of wind brushing against stone that has stood for centuries. Built by the Inca, reclaimed by the jungle, and now slowly being revealed again. Choquequirao feels like a secret being whispered back into the world. You walk its pathways with reverence, touching stones placed with impossible precision, and feel the weight of history pressed gently against your chest. When night falls and stars flood the sky, there's only one word that fits: sacred. On the edge of the Lakandan jungle, cloaked in thick canopy and steeped in the breath of ancient time, the archaeological site of Yaxchilan rests like a myth forgotten. To reach it, there is no road. Instead, travelers must board a long, narrow boat in the town of Frontera Corozal and journey down the Usumacinta River, the border between Mexico and Guatemala. The river is wide, powerful, flanked by jungle that hums with unseen life. Howler monkeys scream in the trees like echoes of the underworld, and crocodiles lurk motionless in the mud along the banks. The ruins emerge suddenly from the foliage, as if summoned by dream. Massive staircases ascend into the green, and the stone walls are still engraved with hieroglyphs and figures frozen mid-movement. Unlike the tidy monuments of more famous sites, Yaxchilan remains defiantly wild. Vines curl through ancient windows, roots burst through temple floors, and moss paints everything in a shade of living emerald. There is no crowd here, no selfie sticks or tour guides with megaphones, only the echo of your footsteps and the occasional rustle of something unseen. Inside the temples, You'll find lintels and carvings that speak of power, sacrifice, and celestial cycles. The Maya rulers depicted here stare back with unblinking eyes, their headdresses aflame with jade and feathers, their stories etched in stone. One building, known as Structure 33, rises above the rest, its roof comb like the spine of a serpent silhouetted against the sky. Standing atop it, you look out over the jungle and river, and the horizon swells with infinite green. Yaxchilan is a place where history hasn't ended. It only slumbers. Deep in the Sierra Gorda of Querétaro, where dense jungle collides with golden light and karst cliffs loom like sentinels, the town of Bucareli sleeps in the shadow of a dream. It is a place of stone and silence, watched over by the skeletal ruins of an unfinished monastery, the Convento de Bucareli. Built in the 18th century and abandoned before completion, its crumbling arches and forgotten walls now house moss, doves, and the occasional flash of a butterfly wing. The air buzzes with life, yet carries the weight of stories left unsaid. The monastery is surrounded by terrain so varied it seems impossible. Tropical forest gives way to desert brush, and in the space of a short hike, waterfalls and cactus gardens share the same frame. Trails wind along the cliffs, opening onto vistas that stretch past the clouds. Far below, the river snakes silver through a labyrinth of stone. The light here is different, purer, more direct, as if touched by divine brushstroke. Visitors rarely come, and those who do often whisper as they walk among the ruins. There is a reverence in the air, not of religion, but of recognition. Something sacred lives here, not in dogma, but in decay. The crumbling walls, half swallowed by vines, are more than ruins. They are reminders that beauty lies in the unfinished, that silence speaks in echoes, that some places do not need to be completed to feel whole. As dusk gathers in Bucareli, the shadows deepen and the stars begin to shimmer behind the broken spires. And for a moment, it is as if time has bowed its head in respect. Let's travel over to Chamonix, France, a name that hangs in the air like a prayer, a whisper of something sacred. Beneath the towering Mont Blanc, the highest peak in Western Europe, Chamonix stretches out like a secret cradled between the arms of ancient stone giants. Dawn unfurls in brushstrokes of gold and rose, splashing color across glaciers that breathe and crack in the shifting light. Here, the mountains are not mere scenery. They are alive. They speak. They sigh with winds that tumble down icy cliffs and whisper through pine forests dusted with powdered snow. Every creaking step along the trails feels like a conversation with the earth itself, an echo of the alpinists and dreamers who once traced these same fragile paths. In the heart of the valley, streets weave through chalets adorned with wooden shutters and cascading flowers, each window framing a new masterpiece of nature. The Aiguille du Midi cable car lifts you into the belly of the clouds, where the world below seems a distant memory, softened into abstraction by swirling mists. At the Mer de Glace, ice grottos sparkle with surreal blue light, the frozen heart of a glacier laid bare for the brave to explore. In winter, the mountains gleam under a crystalline shroud, inviting skiers to dance their lines into the untouched snowfields. In summer, they awaken in a riot of green and wildflowers, the scent of alpine herbs perfuming the air. Chamonix is a place where the veil between dreams and reality is thinner, where each breath feels like communion, and every heartbeat echoes against the immensity of the wild. It is not simply a destination, it is an awakening, a summons to the wild, unchained spirit within. In the northeast wilderness of Heilongjiang, Where winter bites with diamond teeth and the landscape wears a robe of white and silence, there is a village that burns not with cold, but with enchantment. Snowtown, China's very own fairy tale come to life, glows each evening like a lantern in the frost. This hidden hamlet, tucked into the mountains near the Russian border, becomes a different world when snow falls. Rooftops grow soft and round under thick white blankets, like whipped cream frozen in place. Lanterns flicker along snowy streets, casting ruby halos into the crystalline air. The light refracts through ice, creating a world that feels painted in moonlight. In Snowtown, nothing hurries. The snow falls in hushed cascades, softening every sound, until even voices become whispers. Wooden cabins puff smoke into the sky like dreams. Children in red scarves pull sleds past trees that shimmer with frost. And at night, the aurora sometimes dances, painting greens and purples across a sky so still it feels like glass. Yet this is not just a postcard scene. The people here are warm and more than spirit. Doors open to reveal glowing hearths and tables piled high with hot pot and dumplings. Locals share stories of tiger tracks in the snow, of winters past when wolves howled in the distance, of how this village began as a logging outpost and bloomed into something miraculous. There is a reverence for the cold here, not just survival, but celebration. Ice sculptures line the pathways. Steam rises from public baths carved into stone. Laughter drifts through the chill like music. And even the wind feels like it has learned to hum along. Snowtown is not a place you visit. It is a place you remember, dream of, and maybe, if you're lucky, return to, like a story that knows just when to begin again.